वो हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर हे दासे करुणा करी हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर हे दासे करुणा करे दिया पद छाया दो है माया तुम्हारा चरण धरी छाया बेगा दोमी छाया दोषा शोधी छाया गुना देहो दासे छाया बेगा दोमी छाया भेगा दोमी छाया दोषा शोधी छाया गुना देह दासे भेगा दोमी छाया दोषा शोधी छाया गुना देह दासे छाया सतसंग देह है हमारे बसेছি संगे राशे छाया सतसंग देह है हमारे बसेছি संगे राशे ओ हे वैष्णव ठाकुर दयार सागर हे दासे करुणा करे एकाकिया नहीं पाया बाल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकिया नहीं पाया बाल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकिया नहीं पाया बाल हरि नाम संकीर्तने एकाकिया नहीं पाया बाल हरि তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম জানে। তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া ओहे वैष्णव ठाकुर दया सागर हे दासे करुणा करी।
Hare Krishna. We heartily welcome everyone, those who are joining us in this memorial program of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj, was given the name of His Grace Makhanlal Das by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And those who are joining us in this memorial program from the different parts of the world would like to heartily welcome you. So the schedule of the program will be we'll be listening the offerings by different devotees from all over the world. We have with us His Grace Nar Narayan Prabhuji, who has joined us. This is Maharaj's brother. Maharaj and Prabhuji together started Rath Yatra, and they have a lot of stories to tell. There's offering by many different sannyasis, god brothers, god sisters, well wishers. So the program would be, we'll be hearing those offerings, and in between we have some videos of Maharaj, some very old pictures of Maharaj. We'll be showing that. This memorial ceremony is very, very purifying to hear the glories of Vaishnavas and how Maharaj has touched each and every one of our heart in such a different way. Maharaj left his body on 14th of November 2020. According to English calendar, it's the same date. Srila Prabhupada also disappeared on 14th of November. So let us directly start this program. And first of all, we would like to invite His Grace Nar Narayan Prabhuji to share with all of us his words about Maharaj. His Grace Nar Narayan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So,
Krishna. Yes. We are able to hear you, please.
Yes. I wrote a tribute for my brother, which I hope somebody could read, because I cannot bring it up on my computer while I'm on the computer. But if that is not the case, then I can simply speak more transparently that how would you like to do? Would you like to read the tribute, or do you have it?
We don't have it as of now, but Prabhuji, once you send it, we will host it on our website. And for now, if you can share your own words as well, Prabhuji, we would love to hear from you.
Oh, well, one devotee does have it. They've read it. But okay, so then I will speak extemporaneously. You're sure? Because I'm pretty sure it's there. Abhishek has it.
Okay, Abhishek, yes, we'll get it from Abhishek Prabhuji as well. You want us to read that offering?
Okay, well, I don't want to change anything. What would you like me to do then?
Prabhuji, if you can speak few words for now, and we'll circulate that offering in all for the global community and the local community as well. But we would really want to hear from you some words. Prabhuji, for just a few minutes at least you can speak.
Yes, well, because my brother, I had it very nicely put out in the paper that I prepared, but I can say that my brother from birth was a very unusual individual in that he was born actually saffron colored, because he had what appeared to be like jaundice, but actually I think it was a premonition of his later life ending just recently. He just like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he was born in Puri, appeared in Puri, had around his neck an umbilical cord exactly like the bindi, the sacred thread of the Brahmin. So my brother came out predisposed to austerity and predisposed to renunciation by coming out. Why was he saffron colored? Well, he technically had jaundice from a Rh factor, but I'm looking at it more transcendentally, that he came out as a presupposition of who he was to become in later life, because his whole life was that based on austerity. Everything he did was based on austerity. In fact, he didn't begin to speak until he was 3 years old. But when he did begin to speak, everyone was wondering, what would he say? But he said, with great seriousness on his face, no one knew that he could understand everything that was being said. And he just spoke all of a sudden for the first time, saying, without the usual chit-chat of babies, he said, do ducks understand sheep? Now, why would he be considering how the different animals and species can communicate with each other unless he had a very profound understanding of life, even at the age of 3 years old? So this went onward, and he was always in the austere position. He was always very quiet. He never moved unless he had to move. And he didn't really play the way children play. He was quiet and sober at all times. And this continued on as he grew up. When he was a student, when he was involved in University of California, Berkeley, he was always very, very quiet.
This
And
meeting is being recorded.
I'm sorry? Someone said?
Yeah, sorry, but that was just a recording voice. Please.
Oh, I see. So continuing on, he became more and more interested in the spiritual life. And we dabbled briefly with Zen Buddhism and with Tibetan Buddhism, but it did not give any degree of satisfaction. But there came a time when we had rented a storefront on 518 Frederick Street, which we were going to use for artistic purposes for ourselves. And just before we moved in, we found out, to our great astonishment and not particularly satisfied idea, that somebody had rented it from us, underneath us, and had taken the place that we were planning to use. It had been promised to us from a group of intellectuals that had been meeting there. And we found out, well, there was a holy man, a Swami, who somehow or other got the place from us. It took our place that we had started to pay the rent and everything, but the landlord had given it to him instead. Little did I know that a year and a half later, we would be sleeping in the basement of that building as the 518 Frederick Street Sri Sri Radha Krishna Temple in San Francisco, and that the Swami who had taken the place would later be initiating us in that very space, in that very room, as his own disciples, after we had thought that that place was ours for some insignificant material use. So that's what happened. So on the 19th of September, 1968, my brother, Matthew, and I mentioned his name as being Matthew because he is named after Mattathias in Latin. Matthew comes from Mattathias, but Mattathias comes from the Aramaic Matasyoho. And Matasyoho was a hero, and my parents named him Matasyoho specifically that he would do heroic deeds in his life. So Matasyoho was one of the last of the Sicaries who had been struggling to keep the Romans out of the Temple of Solomon, the Second Temple of Solomon in Jerusalem. And he later died in a place called Masada. This is the original Matasyoho, in a place called Masada, fighting the Romans to the end to keep them from desecrating the holy place in Jerusalem. And they all perished, like the Alamo. They all perished in Masada, Matasyoho. So my brother, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja, was named after Matasyoho. And then, when he was sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada with the 6 other devotees that were taking initiation on that day, and I might add that I'm 2 years older than my dear brother, but somehow or other, he was so auspicious that he took initiation the day before I did. And that to me was sort of astonishing, because here was my little brother, 2 years younger than me, that I'd known since he was a tiny baby. There he was, my elder godbrother, all of a sudden. And because, he took initiation the day before me, I have to always offer my pranam to my brother Makanal of Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami, because that's the etiquette. And I took great pleasure in giving him that honor, and I have actually honored younger brothers my whole life because of the auspiciousness of my brother Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami. So he's sitting in front of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has just finished, Prabhupada would chant personally 16 rounds, not 16 rounds, 1 round of 108 beads on the initiation beads. And Prabhupada was sitting there, and they had the beads. My brother at that time was very eager. He was always very quiet, very introspective, but he always had that marvelous expression, that marvelous smile on his face, even when he was at that time 22 years old. And as he sat there, he sat up very eagerly, like a little chipmunk, like a little, in the park, a little rodent with a fluffy tail. He was up like he was trying to take some walnuts or something from Prabhupada. He was eager, and Prabhupada had the beads, and he dangled them in front of my brother and said, he said like this, "Your initiated name is Makhanlal." And my brother looks at him with great eagerness and surprise. And he said, "Do you know what is Makhanlal?" My brother shook his head, "No." "Makhanlal is butter thief. Your name is Makhanlal, butter thief." That's Prabhupada's accent. At that time, Prabhupada had a much stronger accent than he did some years later. But it was amazing. So my brother, Makan Lal, water thief. So and that's the pastime, of course, when Krishna is stealing the butter and giving to monkeys. And so my brother made a specialty to always take the holy name and give it to as many people as he could. Like butter thief doesn't mean he takes the, Makanal doesn't take the butter and keep the butter. Makanal takes the butter from Mother Yasoda and distributes it as prasad to all the monkeys and all the living beings. So that is what he was like. He was always distributing the holy name of Krishna. And this was Prabhupada's desire and Prabhupada's intent that he should do so. So he continued on and became temple president in St. Louis, Missouri. He became temple president also in Seattle, Washington. And where he was, he always was very much revered because he looked at people with great compassion. In my written commemoration, that is, that I don't have the copy in front of me, or I'd be reading it, I suppose. He became early on in 1969, he was initiated in 68. In 69, he became, in San Francisco still, obsessed with the notion of seeing Lord Nityananda, the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda. So wherever he went, he was like looking. Somehow, he was very psychic. He and I, as children, had such a psychic connection that we could travel on the astral plane several rooms apart. We couldn't hear each other's verses, but we could meet in between on a plane, astral plane, where we would have all sorts of amazing adventures with ethereal beings that we would meet on that plane. So for him to be like that, it was easy for me to understand because we had had that psychic or astral connection before. So it was just almost like we were almost like twins in the sense that we could understand each other's thoughts, each other's feelings, each other's purpose. So he was always a great inspiration to me because even though younger, he was so naturally spiritually advanced. So we opened the Berkeley Temple, Berkeley, California Temple together, and we would have big kirtans there in front of Cody's bookstore. His Holiness Hridayananda Swami, we had given him a ride up to Berkeley in our car. We had an old car, and we were driving up to Berkeley for preaching, and from Los Angeles, from the original temple that was on La Cienega Boulevard, where I built and designed the first Vyasasan in existence in ISKCON for Srila Prabhupada. And we were driving up there together, and we saw this chap looking pretty miserable, standing by the side of the road, which was roasting hot. And we stopped to give him a ride, and he very happily got in. He was perspiring heavily because of his hot sun, and he was in the middle of the desert on the way to San Francisco, to Oakland. So as we went, we just mercilessly mercilessly covered him with Prabhupada's mercy by talking to him, and we did not stop. He would have loved to have gotten out of the car and escaped, but he couldn't because it was too hot out there. So he stayed there all the way to Berkeley. We dropped him off, and we began our kirtans. My brother would design some beautiful signs, hand-carved signs, showing Krishna and Prabhupada that we would hold like posters up, but they were carved with wood and like picture frames. and we were preaching in front of Cody's bookstore, and this fellow kept coming by, the same one that we had brought on the car from the middle of the desert, and lo and behold, he joined the movement and became Hridayananda Das, and then later Hridayananda Swami, who later on became involved with the 11th and 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam Sanskrit. So anyhow, later on, he married a wonderful lady, Tilak Devi Dasi, had a beautiful child, Vanamali Devi Dasi, and was also a very good husband, very loyal, very faithful, and very spiritually inspirational. His only fault, he was not a businessman. I was more of a businessman, but he was not a businessman. He loved to take care of plants, so he did gardening. He made gardening arrangements, but everywhere he went, he was sensitive to the plants, to the birds, to the bugs, to every creature. And he didn't make lots of money, but he certainly made lots of adoring friends as he did his service for his family. And then as he progressed along the way, he took wonderful care of his wife and his young daughter. And after that, when years had passed, he was living in Santa Cruz, California, and he decided to take renounced order of life, came to Punjabi Bagh, and I believe that's where he took sannyas. And from the rest is well known by all of you, because I could see from the photographs that everyone really took some inspiration from his inner character of astrological power that he had, as well as spiritual power that he derived from Prabhupada, who he considered to be the transparent via medium from Krishna. So every time he spoke about Prabhupada or spoke of Prabhupada or in behalf of Srila Prabhupada, representing Prabhupada, he saw Prabhupada as a transparent via medium. Because in 1968, Prabhupada had written to Brahmananda and said, we should all imagine that we are being dragged up through the Vaishnava Sampradaya by Lord Nityananda. Now you can ask, how can Lord Nityananda drag us up? It's like a bunch of lenses. How can he drag us up through the Vaishnava Sampradaya when he appeared 500 years ago? And the answer, of course, is our Sampradaya, the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Gaudiya Sampradaya originates with Lord Balaram, and it is Balaram who became Lord Nityananda. So Prabhupada said, Nityananda is going to drag us up through the Vaishnava Sampradaya, but it is actually Balaram in that form of with plow, etc., and the manifestation of all the 4 types of Vishnus, and he pulls us up through the disciplic succession as though we were traveling through clear lenses on a telescope. We're being pulled up through these clear lenses up to the transcendental lotus feet of Krishna. So, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami, I could tell by listening to his lecturing, by seeing the expression on his face, by seeing, more importantly, the expression on those faces that came around him, who looked with great amazement at him, that my brother took so seriously the notion that the Prabhupada is the transcendental via medium, meaning that there's no obstacle, there's no anartha. But as he progressed only for one purpose, and that was to reach the perfection of his sannyas years, and then in his body, which had begun to show, the defects and flaws of old age, and nature took its toll, heart condition took its toll, and all these other symbolic things, just as Prabhupada had heart condition also. He then left his body gloriously and has now entered Samadhi. So I would like to say, I honor my brother, and everyone is saying to me, wherever I go, and call me on the phone and text me on on the internet, on Facebook, they're saying, "Oh, you must be grieving for your brother because he was so beloved. You must grieve." Grieving is there, but I will tell you, my primary emotion and feeling, knowing my brother, having taken initiation myself as Narayana Das, and later on given the title Vishwakarma, builder, because I built things like Vyasasans and deities and things like that, that he, as a builder, as a person who understands the mechanics of things, I looked at him, I know and I saw his condition, heard about his illness, heard about his surgery on the back, etc. And then he left his mortal body, and except that his mortal body was in saffron, and his mortal body had become sacred because of his having taken the great task of sannyas. So when I say, do you grieve for your brother passing? Yes. But I will say, more than grief, I celebrate my brother Matthew Makandaldas Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami. I celebrate his departure because I know wherever he goes, he will bring spiritual life to everyone, wherever he goes, whomever he meets, he will simply speak of Krishna, which was the direct instruction of Lord Chaitanya. Wherever you go, whomever you meet, simply speak of Krishna. So that is what I would like to say about my beloved brother, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami. And I say, let us celebrate the greatness of a person who can go on. Oh, one last thing. I have begun my own strong preaching movement, which is going to be based on actually a document gathered by Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami for me a few years ago, World Sankirtan, to bring 100,000 people together into a auditorium, football stadium, instead of silly nonsense football, kicking a ball around, which is better left to animals like dogs. We will be chanting Hare Krishna in 100,000 people, everyone taking turns leading the kirtan. And that we did also at Punjabi Bagh Temple a few years ago when I was there. So I have, and you may find it surprising, or maybe you will laugh, or maybe you'll take it very seriously. I've invited my brother in his present disembodied form to join in this World Sankirtan process. So if you ever see World Sankirtan emerging in parts of India with 100,000 people taking turns, nobody chanting, no big shot on the stage, just the individual people being given the microphones, one of 60 or 70 microphones, to take turns chanting. And when that occurs, you understand that Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami has been invited by me. I get to do that of his elder brother, even though he's more so advanced, to come and to inspire everyone in these melas. Hare Krishna, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and please accept my good wishes to all of you, my blessings to all of you, and my approach to you that you will also come into the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and help bring his transcendental movement transparently to the people of this world. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We were hearing from His Grace Narayan Prabhu. who's the brother of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj. Once again, I would like to thank everyone and honor each and every one of you who have joined us for this memorial program in memory of Maharaj. Especially would like to welcome His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, other Prabhupada disciples, God brothers, and the many family members of Maharaj who have joined us. So next, we would like to invite His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, if Maharaj can come and share his offering with all of us. Thank you.
Nanayanji, Nanabad.
Dharmaj Maharaj, we are able to hear you. Please.
We have a GBC meeting in 20 minutes. Om Gyan Timanasya Yanjana Shlakya Chakshurmitanyena Tasmashi Gurave Namaha. Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj was a very dedicated disciple of Srila Prabhupada. I believe he became a devotee in 1968, and he was the president of the St. Louis Temple. He was the president of the St. Louis Temple. And I was reading the letters that Prabhupada wrote to him while at the time when he was president. He used to the St. Louis Temple was really flourishing at that time. Every day I read at least 3 letters written by Prabhupada to Makhanlal. Prabhupada named him Makhanlal when he was initiated. And which Prabhupada was saying, "You are doing very good preaching, because every time you write to me, you recommend 6, 7, 8 American devotees for initiation." So Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj was the president of St. Louis Temple, and several of the devotees who are leaders in ISKCON today, they joined in St. Louis. They were preached to by Makhanlal Prabhu. I believe he also opened the preaching in Berkeley and San Francisco. So he had the spirit of preaching from the very beginning. And he was very dedicated to following Prabhupada's instructions. So after being in America, Maharaj came to India. We got in touch with him about 15 years ago. And he made the Punjabi Bagh temple. Punjabi Bagh is a very beautiful temple. They have the deities of Krishna Balaram, Jagannath Subhadra Balaram, and Radhikaraman. So I believe he met Rukmini Krishna in Vrindavan, and Rukmini Krishna invited him to come to Punjabi Bagh. I think at that time Maharaj didn't have a permanent base. He was just traveling around. And when he came to Punjabi Bagh, at that time Punjabi Bagh had about 14 brahmacharis. We fell in love with each other. He liked the atmosphere in Punjabi Bagh temple, and the devotees were very happy with Maharaj's association. And we saw that he was always preaching. He was setting a very good example, very good sadhana. He had his Shilas. I don't know how many. He had his Shila that he would regularly worship. And he had deities of Jagannath and Jagannath deity and Nilmadhav. He used to do deity worship regularly. And he was always preaching. One other thing that we noticed was that he was very bold in his preaching. Whenever he would see the initiated congregation adopting modern techniques, modern dresses, he would correct them. He would chastise them. He was very bold. He was a bold preacher, and he was very straightforward. He inspired a lot of people. He was enthusiastic, and he used to come to my Vyas Pujas and preach to the disciples how they should be good devotees. This was very much appreciated. He had some health issues, and for the last few years, he had some health issues. In spite of these health issues, he went on preaching. He had a lot of friends in Punjabi Bagh. Punjabi Bagh is located in a very rich section of the city. And Maharaj was so popular. He had many friends. One of his dreams was to start a school in Delhi. He felt that the modern education system is not so good, and he wanted to start a school. Starting a school in India is not easy. So Maharaj was very much liked by all the devotees in the temple, and they were always anxious to serve him personally. And he would correct them, chastise them if they made some mistake. And he would not hesitate in even correcting our congregation when he saw they were not being too Vedic. So Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, he was like an uncle to everyone. And in the marathon period, he would encourage the devotees to go out for the marathon. And he would always correct our brahmacharis and put them on the right track. 2 years ago, he was in Bangladesh. He had to leave the country regularly because he had to leave the country to come back on a new visa. That's always a problem for foreigners. So sometimes he would go to Malaysia, sometimes to Nepal, and this time sometimes to Bangladesh. And when he went to Bangladesh, he became quite ill. And the Bangladesh devotees, they saw Maharaj for the first time. They were so attracted. They looked after him so nicely. And the Delhi temple offered to pay the medical fees, but they said, no, we want to pay. We want to look after him. So Maharaj was very enthusiastic, and as you probably heard, about a month ago, he had to undergo this major spinal operation. I wasn't involved in this, but the senior devotees of the Punjabi Bagh temple who were looking after him, they had a discussion, and Maharaj very much wanted the operation. So the operation was not so successful. So we all miss him. We were all very sorry that he departed. But as we know, the saint is present in the Vapu form and the Vani form. Vapu is temporary for everyone. Vani is permanent. So we have his instructions. He gave a lot of instructions to the brahmacharis and the congregation of Punjabi Bagh, and we will try our best to follow his instruction. And he left a very good impression on the devotees there. So, and he was also very jolly. He would joke a lot with devotees. And he was very strict in executing Prabhupada's instructions. We read some of Prabhupada's letters to him, and Prabhupada very much praised his preaching spirit, his enthusiasm to preach, and the fact that they're making so many new devotees in St. Louis. So I want to offer my obeisances, Maharaj, and we're taking care of his Shilas. His Shilas are being worshipped on the altar of the temple, and he had a Jagannath deity that he was very fond of. Whenever he would go to Vrindavan or Mayapur, he would take his deities, place them on the table, so everyone could have darshan. And so there's some talk as to where the deity should go. So he was a great devotee. We had very close friendship, but we didn't spend so much time together. We used to meet quite regularly. And he was a wonderful example to the younger generation. He was one of Prabhupada's earlier disciples. He is in the first batch of 100 devotees who joined Prabhupada's movement. And devotees will remember him always because he was an exemplary devotee and a dedicated disciple of Prabhupada, and who preached the importance of Prabhupada's books, encouraged devotees to do book distribution. He encouraged devotees to be exemplary, good sadhana. So we have no doubt that his service to Prabhupada was pure, and we all come here for a limited portion of time, and when our term is over, we all have to depart. And he left behind a great message, and he was a very good example for all of us. So I know we hear Madhurya Govinda Maharaj ki. Yeah,
Thank
one
you so
line, I just wanted to add one line. Maharaj wanted to take sannyas. This was years ago, 2010. And there were a lot of people opposing Maharaj. Some people are opposing Maharaj getting sannyas. But anyway, Krishna inspired me to do this service for him. We had to present Maharaj's case, and eventually the GBC decided, agreed, okay, let him take sannyas and travel around the world. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so very much, Maharaj, for coming and sharing this offering with all of us. By your blessings and by some good fortunes of Krishna, we were so blessed to have Maharaj Association, Punjabi Bagh community especially. And due to his presence, many devotees could get a glimpse into the life and mood of Srila Prabhupada. Next, we have with us His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj, and we would humbly pay obeisances at the lotus feet of Maharaj and request him to share his offering. As you are on mute, Maharaj, at present. I think we can also unmute you from here. Let's. Achinitai Prabhu, can you please unmute Maharaj?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. There is a small icon on the left side of the taskbar. Yeah, there is a small icon, mic icon on the left side. Yes, Maharaj.
We can only actually ask you to unmute, and we have already done that. Okay. Meanwhile, Maharaj unmute himself will like to show a very small video of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj. There's a collection of his very old and very interesting photographs of Maharaj, and there's also the song Jiyanilo Premadhana. So, for a few minutes, we'll watch that video.
Jiyanilo Premadhana Koruna Rachu Jiyanilo Premadhana Koruna Rachu Heno Prabhu Kota Gila Acharjataku Heno Prabhu Kota Ahamura Svarupa Kahasanota
So we'll keep playing on this video in between. So let's invite His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj, and also we would like to invite His Grace Deen Bandhu Prabhuji and His Grace Mahakarta Prabhuji. Thank you, yes, Maharaj. We can hear you, Maharaj.
Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyam patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. My obeisances unto Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja's lotus feet. I was thinking by now he has a lotus feet, so I could offer my obeisances at his lotus feet. And of course, my obeisances unto Narayan Prabhu also. I'm very glad to see him and was very happy to hear him speak. We had a good fortune of having association of Narayan Prabhu in Juhu, Bombay in early days. When I joined, Narayan Prabhu was already full-fledged and very senior devotee. So we did not have association of Makhan Lal Prabhu. I think they both have, being brothers, have some kind of similar natures, very strong personalities, and both Prabhupada men. So by knowing Narayan Prabhu, I think I got to know or later on realized, oh, this reminds me of Narayan Prabhu, as I had more encounters with Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. And really, Srila Prabhupada gave us so many God brothers. I left few brothers behind, but then I had thousands of brothers all over the world, including Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj and so many others. You could see how Srila Prabhupada transformed us. One brother would not talk about another brother after that brother's departure, the way Narayan Prabhu was talking. This is the transformation when I heard Narayan Prabhu appreciating and glorifying and then celebrating my brother's departure and the high spirit of, I want to organize a Sankirtan festival with 100,000 people, and I would like my brother to join. He's confident, yes, sure, you will join in spirit. I mean, this kind of language you only could hear from disciples of Srila Prabhupada or the family that Srila Prabhupada gave us. We are very proud of our brothers and our spiritual father, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I don't know when Narayan Prabhu joined, or who joined first, or Madhurya Govinda Maharaj joined, but his first batch, first 100, as we heard from Gopal Krishna Maharaj, first 100 disciples, he was Makhan Lal. He was given name Makhan Lal. I also like that name. Even before I met Makhan Lal, I had been hearing the name Makhan Lal. And I really like that name, Makhan Lal. So that Makhan Lal Prabhu of Prabhupada days, or Prabhupada gave him that Makhan Lal name. So lots of contributions. I read, I understood that he was a youth preacher. He was preaching at different universities, and so no wonder why he ended up towards the end of his journey in Punjabi Bagh, where there is also lots of youth preaching, from youth preaching in California in early days to youth preaching place, destination, Punjabi Bagh. I think that's makes some connections. Maharaj, when he was a Prabhu, he did a lot of, he was responsible for starting different yatras. I read that he was responsible for Berkeley Yatra and making lots of devotees in St. Louis. Our Bhima Prabhu was made a devotee by our Makhanlal Prabhu, and so many others, I think dozens of devotees. So credit goes to him. All glories to his services. He also worked with BBT as a legal advisor. And then eventually he ended up in India last 10, 15 years. He was with us in India. Yes, I know he really, I appreciate his great determination to take sannyas, and I know attending GBC meetings, there were oppositions. So I thank and Gopal Krishna Maharaj for overcoming all stumbling blocks so that Makhanlal Prabhu's desire of becoming sannyas was fulfilled. But he was He did not want no as the answer. He was bent upon, I want son, I will have, I will be taking, I must be sannyasi. So it was quite a determination, so something to learn from. Utsaha, nishaya, determination in him. But he used to carry deities around, his favorite deities, a big collection of deities, including Jagannath. And wherever he went, he would insist on getting nice offerings for his deities, and he would sometimes fight for it so that he has all the offerings, all the bhogas for his deities. And he used to carry those deities sometimes around his neck, reminding me of Loknath Goswami. Me, the Loknath Swami, was I wish I could do like this. My Loknath Goswami. Loknath Goswami used to go around carrying the deities. Now here, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, following in the footsteps of Loknath Goswami, also was going around carrying the deity. I really admired the way he took his deities around. And although there were challenges, health issues, but he kept moving around. Mayapur festival, Vrindavan festival, we just heard when Bangladesh for preaching, or this temple opening, that temple opening. And we used to see how sometimes offering obeisances, and we used to struggle to get up, and devotees would rush forward to get him up, help him to stand up. So although challenges were there, he was kind of unstoppable, and he was moving around and traveling around and doing his sannyas dharma of Parivrajaka Paribrahman. So that is something exemplary. Well, he was very strict, and any substandard, and he would point out and get on that person's case. And so, in fact, I used to be also very careful being around Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. I used to try to behave, make sure I do everything right. Otherwise, I used to go to Punjabi Bagh, and Maharaj kindly used to attend my program or class, which used to be in Hindi, and then he used to make sure that someone translates for him. So while talking, I used to make sure I say the right things, and because in the audience there's a Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, and I better follow the line and not say or do something out of order. And the same thing, he used to come to Vrindavan during Kartik, and then whenever I had my turn to sing Damodar Astak and then singing, so then my singing, my ragas, or my, I used to be careful to make sure everything I'm doing is right and not. But several times, although I used to have some fear, Maharaj may make some comment about the way I chanted this mantra or raga or alap, or several times he used to come and pat me on the back and say, "Thank you, Maharaj, thank you, well done." He used to really appreciate my chanting. So that was very encouraging. Hari Hari. So His name was Makhan Lal, and Prabhupada gave that name, Makhan Lal. And month of Damodar Kartik is month of Makhan Lal. He left during this Makhan Lal's month or Damodar Kartik month. And Srila Prabhupada also left during the same month, right? During Kartik. And have you taken note? Prabhupada left on 14th of November. And Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj also left on 14th of November. Same English calendar, 14th of November, 77, 14th of November, 2020. And not only that, Srila Prabhupada departed from Krishna Balaram temple. And our Punjabi Bagh temple is also Krishna Balaram temple. As Makhan Lal or Madhurya Govinda Maharaj was also right behind. Srila Prabhupada was right behind the temple. And I'm sure that is where Maharaj was behind, somewhere behind the temple, Krishna Balaram temple. So Prabhupada man followed in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. And while departing, a lot of things are matching. And he's following Srila Prabhupada. I mean, he really was very steadily stayed on in Punjabi Bagh. Once he entered Punjabi Bagh and became kind of a resident sannyasi, he never moved out of it, only for preaching, of course, but his base never changed. So he showed his steadiness in that regard. And I like to thank Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Rukmini Krishna Prabhu, and all the devotees, authorities, and congregation of Punjabi Bagh Temple for accommodating Maharaj. Sometimes a little difficult. Maharaj is a heavy, strong personality, but you managed successfully. And also the health issues were there, but you all really took good care of Maharaj in every possible way. For that, we all devotees from around the world and all God brothers and God sisters of Bhakti Govinda Maharaj, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. Also on behalf of Narayan Prabhu, also I would say I like to, and on behalf of myself, like to thank again and again ISKCON Punjabi Bagh for all that you did also for Maharaj. He did so much also for you, did a lot for you, gave you all association and instructions and corrections and this and that, inspiration, and then you reciprocated. And for that, we are grateful. So,
Thank you so much, Maharaj. As well as Holiness Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Maharaj is joining from all the way from Pandharpur. And thank you, Maharaj, for beautiful darshan of Prabhupada Ghat at the background. Maharaj is conducting for the first time in the history Vraj Mandal Parikrama virtually, in which I think more than 7,000 devotees are joining worldwide. And Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj was very fond of Maharaj's Kirtan, Loknath Maharaj's Kirtan in his room. Apart from Srila Prabhupada Kirtans, His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj Kirtans would play, or he would always play Maharaj's Kirtan for his deities. So thank you so much, Maharaj. So now next, we would like to heartily welcome His Grace Deen Bandhu Prabhuji, and would like to invite Prabhuji for sharing his offering. And after His Grace Deen Bandhu Prabhuji, we have His Grace Mahakarta Prabhuji. So His Grace Deen Bandhu Prabhuji, thank you so much for joining. And it's always such an honor and pleasure for all of us to have darshan of you. Thank you.
From Sri Vrindavan Dham, Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Svapadandigam Adadana Daividam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padam Bhujo Dulisyam Janmadandani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatrubhista Kripasindhuve Vachapatidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So it's a great honor for us to be here today to remember our very wonderful older godbrother. I don't have many older godbrothers, but I believe he was 1 year older. And in those days, 1 year you were a senior devotee. As I joined in Boulder, Colorado in 1969, Janmashtami, shortly after that, if you know, Colorado is at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, or Boulder's at the foot of the Rocky Mountains, so it became very cold. And we were very, very poor then, not like nowadays we have so much opulence, kaju and kishmish and everything, but they didn't have any money to buy warm clothes to do Harinam. But that's all we did in those days. We went in Harinam and distributed back to Goddess. So they sent me to LA to get trained up, because in those days Prabhupada wanted LA to be the training center. So I got sent out to nice sunny California, and I met two very sunny personalities, because they stuck out. They were very striking, amazing characters. One was Narayan, who's already spoke, and the other one was, of course, in our American Sanskrit, we say Makanlal, though it's actually Makanlal. But anyway, these two characters were very colorful, and they stuck out in my memory. And we were way in the old La Cienega Boulevard temple, old temple before Watseka. And I always remember he was very, very, both of them stood out. They were very devoted to Srila Prabhupada. That was very inspiring. They were both very loud. Those days, almost every Sunday, we'd have a drama. So Makanlal was always part of the drama. He was always quite a very dramatic character. And he was very devoted to Srila Prabhupada and very attached to chanting, because that's, in those days, that's all we did. We go downtown all morning, late morning and afternoon, early afternoon, chanting Hare Krishna. And then we come back, take some prasad, and then except Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays was Bhagavad Gita class, and we would go to Sunset Boulevard or Hollywood Boulevard, you all know, and chant. And we were there with Vishnu Jan. And I always remember him being very enthusiastic and chanting the holy name. Then again, I met him after I got my training, went back to Boulder. Then they sent me to LA this time to the Watseka Avenue Temple. And we might mention, in that old La Cienega temple, there was a wonderful Vyasa-san. As Narayan mentioned, that was the first real Vyasa-san in ISKCON. Very beautiful, wonderful Vyasa-san. It was very, very amazing service of Narayan to make this Vyasa-san. So then we came to the Watseka temple, where again we got to associate for a few days, because I was there for getting initiated. And then after some time I joined LA Temple. We moved from Houston, Texas. We came and we joined, and by this time I think Makanlal was married to a wonderful devotee named Tilak. And again, of course, that time book distribution were just starting to take off, but again, mainly we were chanting Hare Krishna together. And I saw he was always very strict in his sadhana and very, very outspoken, very firm, always making sure. And I remember I noticed this back in La Cienega, but I also remember on Watseka, he was very, very devoted to Lord Nityananda. Somehow or other, he was always talking about Lord Nityananda. That's what that's what I remember about Amakan Lao. He was trying to say that we're not remembering Lord Nityananda as we heard Lord Nityananda is the incarnation of Balaram, who's Adi Guru. So that was very fitting because he was very devoted to Prabhupada. He was very devoted to Lord Nityananda. And then I was very happy in the later years, he came here and made Punjabi Bagh his headquarters. And so that meant he would come to Vrindavan quite often. And sometimes we visited Punjabi Bagh temple and I saw that he was very anxious to train up the younger generation and be very strict with them, that they don't deviate from Prabhupada's mission and don't sing Hari Ramo or Hare Krishna. He was always very concerned because we're all going out the door. There's only a few Prabhupada disciples left. And he was very anxious that the devotees learn how to serve properly Prabhupada disciples. He was very anxious to train the Punjabi Bagh devotees, or of course, wherever he went, especially there. And he was very enthusiastic to preach to the youth. So I had wonderful association with him there in Punjabi Bagh. And he always come for Prabhupada's festival and always firmly try to guide us to stick on the path of Srila Prabhupada. He was a real Prabhupada man. That's what he always inspired me. And it was very sad to learn that he was having some medical issues. But now we're all of us, those old disciples, were at that age where always something is wrong. We're all the aches and pains are coming. We're finding out that Prabhupada didn't lie to us, that this material world is miserable. When you're young, it's very fun to preach. The miseries of birth, death, disease, and old age. But when it finally hits you, that Prabhupada didn't lie, then it's a heavy realization. Old age is not fun at all. And we should become inspired by His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja to become very faithful servants of Srila Prabhupada and try to push on whatever time we have left, try to push on the mission in the same way that Maharaj was so enthusiastic. I always saw him so enthusiastic to push on Prabhupada's mission. So we should take that inspiration from him and push on Prabhupada's movement with as much vigor as we can muster up now these old days. And I also like to thank Punjabi Bagh Temple. It's not easy to take. We're getting old. We're a little cranky. So it's not so easy to take care of us, but I thank them from the bottom of my heart. I put my head at their feet for taking so nice care of Maharaj in the last days. And we hope that he's there showering his blessings down on Punjabi Bagh Temple and showering his blessings down on us. Srila Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja ki jai.
His Grace Deenbandhu Prabhuji ki jai. We would like to thank so much Prabhuji. Prabhuji has actually written one book on Braj Leela, and that book would always stay with Maharaj, and Maharaj would put in his altar, and has a very, very beautiful photo. And Maharaj sometimes before going on bed, he would open and read that book. And actually, it was our honor and blessing and fortune that we got opportunity to serve Maharaj. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. One thing that many devotees are missing and due to COVID pandemic lockdown is going to Vrindavan and the Kartik and taking your darshans and hearing from you. So next we have with us His Grace Shankadhari Prabhu, who is we have His Grace Mahakarta Prabhuji, who is another Srila Prabhupada's glorious disciple. And after that, we have with us His Grace Shankadhari Prabhu and His Grace Kamalochan Prabhu. So I would like to request His Grace. Karta Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. You can hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, it's very
Okay.
clear.
Namo Om Vishwapadaya Krishna Prasaya Putale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devan Gaura Bhani Vacharine Nivishesa Sunyavadi Bhakshata Dishatani Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Swasadi Gaura Bhakta Vedam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I must thank to have been invited for this program, memorial program. And it's an honor to speak a few words about His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami, whom I met only about 3 times here in Sri Lanka. I am in Sri Lanka for quite a long time, 44 years. I originally joined in Germany as a devotee during Hansaduta Prabhu's time, or Hansaduta Maharaja's time. And then I came to Sri Lanka in 1976 to open the temple here. And I have pleasure to have been associated with Srila Prabhupada, being in Vrindavan, doing Vihasa Puja to him and serving him for a few days. That's all. Otherwise, I am most of the time in Sri Lanka. So usually in Sri Lanka, not many devotees come to Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan devotees are here, and our GBC is His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj or Bhanu Swami. They come here. Otherwise, we are on our own. Sometimes, so there was a call from Bhakti Madhurya Swami's servant that Maharaj wants to come to Sri Lanka. He came 3 times. So, we are, when the sannyasi comes, we are very careful. We make all the special arrangements because sannyasi coming, Sri Lanka is a place, there are no devotees are coming here usually. So we make all the arrangement and bring him and invite him, and we gave our best arrangement so that he could deliver some lectures. And we had some special programs organized. So it was very, for me, being in Sri Lanka, he was very careful. He is very strict. He spoke very nicely, and he will correct certain things. Even if Bhagavad class or Bhagavad Gita class, he will make corrections how to pronounce and how to read nicely, and made the devotees to read. And he is a wonderful devotee to make new devotees to be engaged. And he also makes new devotees to serve him and make them friends to him. So like that, he was very nice. And first time they did everything nicely, and again we sent him back. And second time he came, that time he was not that healthy enough maybe. So third time when he came, actually that time he was not very, very healthy. So anyhow, there was one devotee, Sri Gauradas Prabhu. He came from Australia. He's also Sri Lankan. And we asked him to serve him all the time. But I saw Maharaj usually, even though he was not very well, he will come to the temple on time and chant his rounds and sit there for the program, and very, very careful. He was taking medication. And actually from Delhi or there, they will call and talk about the medicine and everything. Some care was taken. And one time I went to the room to see him. He was actually, we thought he was sleeping, but he was a little, not really unconscious. He was sleeping in a way. But even though he was unconscious, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's it. Actually, even though he was not very well, health-wise, he was a little in difficult situation, he was chanting this out. So I was wondering, so such a Swami, he is, because he had been chanting the Hare Krishna mantra for lifelong, even at the time of difficult situation, he is without even opening the eyes, actually half open, he was chanting the mantra. And I was really wondering, he's a great sage, because usually anybody will get annoyed. If you are sick, they will find fault with other people and everything. But he is like that. Then we took special care, and some of them, he went back to Delhi. After that, I saw him one time at a function in Mayapur. That time he was okay. Anyhow, such a wonderful devotee to have associated with him. I am very fortunate, because I have met a person even at a difficult times of unconscious state, so he can chant the Hare Krishna mantra without having any other interruptions. So he's a very wonderful devotee, actually. So anyhow, in these 3 times of our association, usually personally I don't get close to anybody. From a distance I do the service. But even then he used to call me and tell me some stories about his service and his activities and pastimes, so that I'll get engaged in associating with Srila Prabhupada's Leela. Like, so he explained how he had some experience with Srila Prabhupada in the States, and like that he used to explain. And I had some very nice association, and I am fortunate to have been associated with him. And I don't want to, because I did not associate so much with him, so I will thank you to have given me the chance to speak few words on his Memorial Day. And Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpatarvyecha, Kipasindhu Bhaivacha, Paitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnaviyo, Namo Namaha. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Express Mahakarta Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So next we have with us His Grace Kamalochan Prabhu, who is Temple President of ISKCON Mira Road, and on Maharaj's trip, annual trip usually to South India and those areas, Maharaj would visit Mira Road. So we would like to invite His Grace Kamalochan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, my humble obeisance to Maharaj. It was a great opportunity to have a association with him. And I'd like to speak something about the nature of Maharaj. He is like Lord Shiva of our movement. Lord Shiva is pleased very easily and also becomes upset very easily. So, Maharaj, if you just pay obeisances to him, give some prasad, uh, just simple things to please him a lot. And at the same time, if he sees even a small deviation or somewhere we are not so much to the standards of Prabhupada, he becomes upset and goes on repeating. And he has a unique way of correcting us that he just becomes upset, and somehow devotees would work hard, do something to please him, and then make him happy. So this is the nature of a devotee who is always thinking of Krishna, who has almost attained the level of bhava, that he shows the nature of a child, that is very simple at heart. And it is there in the Balakanda of Ramayana. Now the Acharya says that how Balakanda is called Balakanda not because of Lord Ramachandra's childhood pastimes. In the Valmiki Ramayana, Lord Ramachandra's childhood pastimes are hardly mentioned. Lord Ramachandra is born, he appears, all the 4, and just few verses after Dasharatha is thinking of Lord Ram getting Lord Ram married. In this way, we find that how Balakanda is named as Balakanda not because of Lord Ram, because of Vishwamitra and Vashishta. It is Guru Pradhan Kanda. Guru, an advanced devotee, his nature is that of a Bala. Bala means a small child. That is not worried. There may be a big problem in the entire family, but the child is playing and he is not having any anxiety. And more than that, the child, other nature is that if there's a child, he may be a rich man's child, belonging to a rich family. If you just leave a small child, there may be some workers, small construction workers, they may be children. He goes and plays with them. He doesn't see that I am such a big person, why I should deal with these people. Down to earth. So in this way, these are the 2 important natures of a small child. We can find this thing very much in Maharaj. Whenever he used to come to Mira Road, I still remember that he's very down to earth. And he does speak to everyone. Even a new person who comes to the temple, if he just comes and pays obeisances, he'll give us a lot of attention, speak to him. He doesn't see, think I'm a sannyasi and he's just a new person. Why I should speak to him? Sometimes you'd approach people, direct would speak to him as a friend. So this is a very interesting nature of Maharaj. At the same time, he's very pleased. Even small things please him. And I had the great fortune of getting a lot of scoldings from him. It is said that the mercy of the devotee is being getting scolded from the devotee, being chastised by the devotee. Somehow it so happened for some reason or so, which is beyond my thinking, beyond my imagination, for what reason or so, he always had a kind of expectation that this temple mirror belongs to or is monitored by the GBC of Mirror Temple is His Holiness Gopal Swami Maharaj. And he once told me, this Maharaj is you're a disciple of Maharaj. You're going to take sannyas. How can you be so neglectful? So I was not knowing what is the reason for I being neglectful. Maybe I am traveling in lot and whole temple management is taken care of other devotees. And he sees me as a temple president. Though I am main namesake temple president, I don't see any activities. I don't do the actually the on-ground work of a temple president. I don't know what's happening in the temple also, temple. So he was expecting me that I should personally attend and see all the details, everything. I hardly know that who is coming to the temple, who is going out of the temple. Maybe he was expecting that to give a personal attention. But somehow, for any reason or so, if I get a chastisement, if anybody gets a chastisement from a devotee, that's actually a blessing. So I beg pardon. I pay my humble obeisances, beg forgiveness from Maharaj, because many a times, though he has come to Mirror Temple, everything was taken care. We took care of very nicely, but he expected that the president should be personally present in taking care of the guests. So I beg forgiveness because I could not really do that because of my absence in the temple, because I hardly stay in Mira Road. After he left his body, my only regret is that he should be somehow be pleased with me, and I hope wherever he is, he'll definitely preach Krishna consciousness and will be very cheerful always as he's ever. And last thing I'd like to speak is, as a movement, Punjabi Bagh Temple has set a great example. Srila Prabhupada actually named this organization as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is a society. Society means that we have to take care of children, women, old people, and sick people. That is what it makes a society. If we are not able to take care of these four categories of people, then we are in a great, it's a great sin for the society. The whole society has to face the sinful reactions for it. Now, if you see Maharaj, he was not well, he was sick. Number two, he was old, and it was like a childish behavior he had. This is the nature of a devotee who is very much advanced in Krishna consciousness. So, Punjabi Bagh Temple has set a standard for all the temples to take care of the devotees who are helpless. Though the sannyasi, I still remember, somehow many temples would not keep him for more than 3 days, or somehow they were asking him, Maharaj, when you're leaving. I was very bad. Sometimes I had tears. Even when he had come to our temple, there was so much objection from some other devotees, how long he's going to stay. That's what they would ask me. When devotees would ask me how long he's going to stay, I would tell them, there'll be a time when Kamal Lochanath will be also like that. Maybe I'd be paralyzed, who knows? Just imagine if somebody says that, oh, how long he's going to stay. It's not going to be good for the society. I, from the heart, core of my heart, pay obeisances to all the devotees of Punjabi Bagh and the management of Punjabi Bagh Temple for having set a standards and set a direction, set a trend that we should take care of the old people. We should take care of children and other who are who really require help. Care is required. So the perfect example of devotee care has been set up by Punjabi Temple. In spite of all the difficulties the temple had, the devotees had in taking care of him, they still took care of them. I really salute. And whenever I visit the Punjabi Bagh temple, very mercifully, they used to allot the room where his transcendental vibrations of chanting is always there. I felt very much purified that by taking shelter of his room where he used to stay, whenever I visit Punjabi Bagh. It's a wonderful opportunity which Punjabi Bagh temple, Murli Krishna called me and told that I should speak. I never expected a call and an invitation that I would speak. Somehow it is the will of Krishna that the call came to me. I got an opportunity to speak and glorify him. By this, I believe that Krishna will forgive me for any offenses towards his lotus feet, and also forgive me for not extending that kind of care and affection and that kind of help which he required while he was staying in Mira Road. Though it was not my will, it was actually the temple management and everybody were there, and also many situations were there where we could not give such kind of care and attention which Punjabi temple devotees gave. Really, you have become a trendsetter for the entire ISKCON to not to commit sin of not taking care of people in our movement, devotees in our movement who actually require care. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Kamaloshan Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so very much, Prabhuji, for sharing so authentically with all of us. We would love to have your association again, and I would like to invite all the devotees whenever you are able to travel again. As well as Loknath Swami Maharaj, Deen Bandhu Prabhuji, Narayan Prabhuji, Kamaloshan Prabhuji, everyone. Whenever you can travel again, please come to ISKCON Punjabi Bagh. We would love, and it's our honor to serve all of you. So next we have with us is Shankadari Prabhu, who is temple president of ISKCON Madurai, and he would very lovingly serve and host Maharaj whenever he would travel to South India. We would like to invite His Grace Shankadari Prabhu. And next, after that, we have His Grace Jitamrit Prabhu and His Grace Tatpit Nimai Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Agyana Sambandha Sanyananjana Chalagya Sasaranamena Tasmai Sri Hare Krishna. All glories to Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. Actually, my associate to Maharaj is a little different. In the very beginning, Maharaj and I used to wonder what is, because I was in the little novice level, still I am novice. I could not understand the Maharaj mood of attachment to the deities and putting his neck, always crawling with that. That's what around 25 years back I used to see him, Maharaj. In the very beginning years, not much very close association or something like that later. After around 2005 or around that time, he started coming South India. In particular, used to give very nice classes for youth. I am very surprised. Some other classes that some youth were remembering so much. Maharaj used to insist you can have friendship, but those friendships should be spiritual. It's a very key point he was insisting. That will be the way you should develop friendship. And almost I saw 20 years old brahmacharis and who are serving 20 years in temple. They mentioned all these points, Maharaj, and I also used to see. Therefore, Maharaj, it's a very good youth preacher. That portion I never understood. And when he gives the class, he is very strong in giving, at the same time soft also, in heart. Not only that, Maharaj used to be, all matters deals with that, he used to be, or externally, used to tell very openly, very strongly. Sometimes the devotees, the pujari or something, agarbatti, if it doesn't keep properly in the proper place, it tells, why do you keep there? Keep it near this place. And such a level tells. And sometimes when he goes to visit some of the branches or extension centers, the standard is not there. Even he is sitting there, he tells, this is not correct. You are not doing properly. That's a way I liked it. because he doesn't have any hesitation. He didn't have any hesitation to mention the type of fault in a very gentle way he handles. Sometimes he used to be very strong, looks very strong, but if you continuously notice, he is unbiased, and his motivation is to improve the things and always take care of the Prabhupada's very, what is it, whole movements go nicely. And I am not so qualified to talk about Maharaj. As I know him, as a Makanlal Prabhu in the beginning, he was taking, when he wanted to take sannyas, I am very surprised. I am not a so senior devotee or something. Since he used to come regular preaching, that sannyas minister needs recommendation of several temple presidents or authority. One of the person he asked me, Maharaj, I am not qualified for anything, but why are you asking me that? Maharaj was so humble. Then I am the one of the person who has to, according to the sannyas minister recommendation, to go to Maharaj. Maharaj was taking to heart and he was thanking me, and I was feeling shame, which I am doing one other thing. Such a fine moments of Maharaj I have sensitized. And I think in his last visit 1 or 2 years back, I roughly remember, 2 years back I think, when night reserved, he was staying in our own extension center, and Maharaj would not went to Rameshwaram and returned. And it was late, I think. Some at that extension center, nobody bothered about his prasadam, I think. Maharaj prasadam. And it was late. He was very, very, Maharaj was weak, those last 5-6 years he was very weak, moving, and the health was not so good. But Maharaj didn't get any agitation. Ajanitai Prabhu was there, Ajanitai Prabhu, and he was calling me night around 11 o'clock or something, and that Maharaj prasadam is missing and all those things. Then Maharaj didn't even feel it also. I think Ajanita was such a duty, he took it, I think. And then we made arrangement, something I was ready to make. I told my wife, you please make it, and we'll have to go and give it to Maharaj, some 10 kilometers away. But by the time some other devotee nearby he arranged. Maharaj was so humble. He was not taking anything outside. He was little waiting. And this was going. Such is the mood. I can tell many, quote such many incidents where Maharaj was very simple, and it didn't externally looks like Prabhu was telling Mira Road, our temple president, that sometimes Maharaj thinks, some devotees think so. It's like a more irritation like that to feel, but Maharaj thing is like giving a chance for us to serve for Vaishnava. And it's a very pleasure to serve Vaishnavas. When you closely serve Vaishnavas, and we remember, we feel that serving Vaishnavas, we get the real blessings, not by serving Krishna or other things. And many of us missing, and Vaishnavas have their own way of accepting the service, demanding the service, that's one thing. But every Vaishnava, and in particular senior Vaishnavas, Prabhupada is able, Maharaj, I learned a lot, such that how one should be able to manage or deal with the senior devotees and other things. That experience plenty he gave. And he has taught us many programs and came and with us also. And all in all, actually, this is one way Maharaj was at Agada Association. But initial thought may be wrong by look, but on moving with them, talking with them, associating with them, listening them, it gives a lot of their activities to understand in a right direction how one can appreciate this. I learned from Maharaj. Because any Maharaj giving nice lecture, having nice way of talking, smooth and other things, we don't have problem. But Maharaj, this Maharaj is very special, and he talk in a special different way, comment in different way. But everybody has to learn this. Maharaj was very politely sometimes tells, sometimes repeated tells, sometimes he tells me to correct the people. Like that, even a short visit he makes. And I think almost every year he was visiting. Last few years he was coming with assistants from Punjabi Bagh Temple. And I was really grateful to Punjabi Bagh Temple devotees. And they took care of Maharaj like anything. They gave me a lot of lesson how I should learn. And I saw some senior devotees always accompanying him, some brahmacharis accompanying him. And that way, I learned the culture of how a senior Vaishnava sannyasi should be treated. And that way, all glories to Punjabi Bagh Temple's devotees to have taken care of Maharaj. And always, I used to wonder, Maharaj, whenever he comes, he makes a call and call me and tell this the way I'm coming and all. To be frank enough, little I'll be hesitating how to handle Maharaj, because I go to be personally there to handle Maharaj happy, like Kamalochan Prabhu told. He expects president should be there and handle the matters and all those things. And it's true. Sometimes the president is not there, somebody will go fit. With this, like I told, Prasad missing and all those things. There's some, therefore, but it is sometimes will be strange, but it will be nice. I spent time, I spent 2-3 days, and then I learned a lot. I got the blessings. Maybe as Kamalochan Prabhu told, I told many things I wanted to tell. I might have done mistakes. I may not have satisfied fully, but Maharaj was very happy. Whenever he leaves, he used to go with a happy mode and bless me. That way, I'm very happy. And also, I am not so qualified to tell, but still, because when Maharaj departure came, I was looking for opportunity to express my gratitude to Maharaj by this way glorifying, and I am really thankful to all his devotees for giving me a chance to express my feelings about Maharaj. It's a true from my heart, not like a formalities. And on the same thing, I personally thank Punjab Bagh devotees also for have taken such a nice care of the Maharaj. And all glories to Maharaj, all glories to Punjab Bagh devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mr. Shanta, Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming and sharing with all of us. And on that note, we would like to invite offerings from everyone. Yeah, even those who would not be able to share here in front of everyone, we would like to encourage and invite you to write any exchange that you had with Maharaj or any quality that was source of inspiration for you. You can send to us. We'll be sharing that email ID in the chat section, and we'll put that up on our temple website, www.iskonpunjabibagh.com. So next, we would like to invite His Grace Jidamrit Prabhuji from Shri Shri Radha Parthasarathi Mandir, ISKCON Delhi, who is one of the pillars there. He's the author of, I don't even know how many books Prabhuji has now authored, and we'd like to invite him. And next, we have His Grace Tatvit Nimai Prabhu. So next, we'd like to invite His Grace Jidamrit Prabhuji. And there's a small, humble submission for all of your consideration, because we are a little short of time. So if all of us can try to keep our offering within 4 minutes, then more devotees can be accommodated. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So one incident I remember when Maharaj was giving a morning lecture in east of Kailash temple, and I was sitting in his right side, and I was listening his lecture. I was sitting on chair because I cannot sit down on the ground. So at that time, one table was at the right side of Maharaj, and on that table, one deity, very beautiful deity of Krishna, was standing. The deity was wooden, and the whole body was Krishna, but the face was Jagannath, and he is playing flute. So when I saw this deity, then I thought that it is I desired that this deity should come on my lap. So I talked to his servant, and servant gave me that deity on my lap. But I was very much fearful that when Maharaj sees he is giving lecture, when he sees that I am keeping his deity on my lap, then he may be angry, or he may criticize. In mic also, at the spot, he starts criticizing. So I was very much afraid. But when Maharaj saw that his deity is on my lap, then he asked his servant how this deity came to my lap. Then servant told everything, and Maharaj was so happy. And Maharaj spoke on the mic that this devotee will go to Vaikuntha in this life. After this life, this devotee will go to Vaikuntha. And I was surprised when Maharaj said, if some Vaishnava like Maharaj said, Krishna is bound to fulfill the word of his devotee. So although I am not qualified, but when Maharaj said, then I have this kind of some belief that I will go back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha. So this is the mercy of a Vaishnava, that Prabhupada also said that if a Vaishnava says that you will go to Vaikuntha, then Krishna is bound by the word of his Vaishnava. Krishna cannot make the words of his devotee false. So this is the great fortune that I had this kind of sentence from Maharaj, that I will go to Vaikuntha, although I am not qualified, but this is the great mercy of Vaishnava. Thank you. All glory to Maharaj. All glory to
Prabhuji ki jai. So one thing I remember, that whenever Maharaj would, some devotee would inform Maharaj that Jitamrit Prabhuji's health is not good. So Maharaj immediately made that devotee call Prabhuji's servant and recommended some medicines. So that was one of the caring nature of Maharaj. If he would know any devotee is sick or ill, he would recommend some medicines too. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Next we have His Grace Tatpit Nimai Prabhu from Bengaluru. And after that we'll be sharing, the offering will be shared by His Grace Rishi Kumar Prabhu. So I would like to next invite His Grace Tatpit Nimai Prabhu from Bengaluru.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you to all the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I'm actually not at all qualified, but I'm doing this service for my own purification. So my name is Tattvit Nimai Das. I'm part of a congregation team called Sri Panchatattva Sevaks. And this name is inspired by His Holiness. I'll share the pastime, how it goes. So my humble obeisances on all the senior Vaishnavas who are present here in this program. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Loknath Maharaj, Naranarayan Prabhu, Dinabandhu Prabhu, all the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. Hare Krishna. So my impression was he is simple, sweet, strong, and straightforward. We just loved him. Actually, I had met him many years before in Bangalore when he was known as Makhanlal Prabhu. He would carry his Jagannath, very nonchalantly, unassumingly, and I wondered how he was never worried about what people will talk about him. He was like just straightforward and just amazing. Many devotees were saying he's strong. What I understood was he's like a jackfruit, very sweet and tasty inside. Very nice person. I mean, I had the great and wonderful opportunity to serve him. So we had made our first, actually I'm going to share an event where we invited His Holiness to our program, and he gracefully accepted it and showered his causeless blessings upon us. So for the very first program, I mean, we made our WhatsApp invite, and he was the one who graced the program. And let me take you through. The program was installation of Panchatattva deities, and let me take you through how the event unfolded. So this was our Madhusudan Prabhu, the Vice President of Jagannath Mandir. He actually, through him and through Maharaj, we received this wonderful gift of Sri Panchatattvas. And we invited him. We were very happy to invite him. All the family members, many of us, almost 10-15 of us, went to the place where he was staying, and we humbly requested, please grace the program, and he was happy to join. And this was, we had a Vedic arrival ceremony. I was very happy. Whenever he notices that the program is based on Vedic culture, and wherever the word Vedic comes, he's very happy to accept, and he was very happy the way we were, organizing and inviting and conducting the program. And looking at him being happy, we were very happy. And at one corner, there is a little bit of, what to say, that thought process that where Maharaj might get disturbed. At the same time, we wanted to put our best effort and serve him very nicely. And then actually we had booked a pretty good hall, And on that day, there were about 400 to 500 devotees who attended the program. And along with Panchatattva, there were many more many deities that day were installed, and he also distributed almost 2-3 sets of Jagannath deities. So it was a glorious day, and this is after the Abhishekam Panchatattva being on the altar. Jai Jai Shishi Panchatattva. Many devotees were in the queue to take his blessings. And we had a very special pastime. It's not very easy to get his Mahaprasadam, at least for me, for us. So on that day, whatever Mahaprasadam were made, there were hundreds of prasadam. He would just taste each item. He would just taste so that we get Mahaprasadam. We could see that he was just showering his blessings on us, though we were not qualified at all. And we were fortunate to receive his costless blessings. And so there were many, many happy devotees, and not devotees, many, many happy families. And this is one of my favorite photo when he was leaving Bangalore and going back to his place. So we thank a million times for your divine association. We will cherish you for a lifetime. And let me just end this with a point. He spoke to me about education and about how to set up a Vedic school for almost 45 minutes to an hour. Aja Prabhu was saying, Maharaj, it's getting late, let's go. But he took time, and I also spent time and recorded whatever instruction he was giving. So if in future something is manifesting through us, then it will be the inspiration of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. We are currently working on a project. We are working on a proof of concept for a Vedic system of school. With all your blessings and Maharaj's blessing, we hope to complete it. Thank you, dear devotees, and thank you for all the organizing team for giving me this wonderful opportunity. This gives me a happiness, and thanks to Maharaj for all his blessings and support he had given us. Thank you, devotee. Hare Krishna. Thanks to everybody. Prabhu, I think you're on mute, Premanjana Prabhu.
Yes, thank you very much, ISKCON my Prabhu, and for the very special, attractive slideshow. Next, we have with us ISKCON Rishi Kumar Prabhu joining from ISKCON Delhi, Shri Shri Radha Parthasarathi Mandir. ISKCON Rishi Kumar Prabhu is NIDC chairman and trustee for Food for Life, and had lot of interactions with Maharaj. So we'd like to invite ISKCON Rishi Kumar Prabhu, and next the offering would be shared by ISKCON Govinda Prabhu.
Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja ki jai. I have had extensive interactions over a period of 10-15 years with Maharaj. My first meeting with Maharaj was when he was His Grace Makanlal Prabhu, and I met him in Chennai, long back, in my hometown. He probably could not recollect the conversation when we finally met in Delhi around 2006, 2007, when he was just shifting into Punjabi Bagh. And as everyone else has remarked, Maharaj's forceful nature of preaching plus personal nature of dealing. It's a great, amazing combination. I have a few lasting images of Maharaj in my mind. One is that I'm like a semi-Yankee when it comes to culture, because I've grown up on American television serials and all that. And Maharaj would share with me all these cultural transitions that happen in the US and the world and how it happens in India. And it was like a very, very friendly conversation, extremely friendly banter. Sometimes we would choose post 9:30 p.m. in Punjabi Bagh to have these kind of conversations. I still would remember that they're lasting images for me, because for about 1 year I had services in Punjabi Bagh in management. And Maharaj would find out a way to look up some of the most intricate details in temple management. He had a way of wanting to stay in action. So he would send a lot of this communication to the GBC as to issues that should be highlighted for improving the system. And I remember every time he would come to ISKCON Delhi, I had the service of being with him, because often most of the people would not be able to track his accent. And we had sort of a good banter going on. So Maharaj and I would constantly have this discussion. And every time something or the other would go wrong. It's almost like Murphy's Law, as they say. In Krishna consciousness, they say Bhakta Murphy. If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong when Maharaj is there. And Maharaj would find a way to correct us. And Maharaj would tell me, one of the things I remember clearly is, it is my service to train you. Maharaj would say that all the time. And that is very important for me, that one after another, Prabhupada disciples are leaving the planet. And it's very important that while they're there on the planet, we recognize their capabilities, their contributions, and give them the due appreciation that they deserve. And often I'm also guilty of the fact that in the middle of my services, I would try to consciously even times avoid having a conversation with Maharaj. And I understand how offensive it is. It is one of the 6 offenses to Vaishnavas. I beg forgiveness today at his lotus feet that I've done this, and it's very late to change things, but that's the way they are. Maharaj used to always remark in Vyasa Puja ceremonies of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj that there is a big difference between an initiate and a disciple. And Maharaj was very, very particular that all of us become good disciples and not just remain initiates. So that is very, very, that's another important lasting image that I have of Maharaj. Another image is of Maharaj dancing with the brahmacharis, like one among the boys, they would say. He would like boisterously jump around and whatever extent he can. He was a fighter. So somehow Krishna gave me this service of the onerous service of giving health reports once in a while about Maharaj's deteriorating health towards the last few days. And I see that as somehow Krishna's mercy that I got this service. But one image that remains with me is acting as Baladev in the drama on Balram Purnima and fighting and smashing Rasraj Prabhu, who came from this temple, who was playing the role of Dvivida the gorilla. So Maharaj was always in the thick of action. And another lasting image is after Sringar Darshan, prayers would be over. Maharaj would go to Krishna Balram and Radha Radhikaraman and keep those 2 nice pairs of flowers on the hairs of the deities. It still remains in my heart. And Maharaj's recovery from his famous bypass surgery is legendary. He was a great fighter. It is almost unthinkable that Maharaj could not make it this time. I almost had a feeling that he is a fighter. He will make it this time as well. I, in fact, told somebody that. So Maharaj would also use the word pakka sometimes with regard to systems. And I know wherever he is serving Prabhupada, he is as pakka as ever. And I just pray to the Supreme Lord that we receive his blessings to improve things the way he wanted always, to keep his vision of serving Srila Prabhupada. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj ki jai.
So thank you very much, Iska Rishi Kumar Prabhuji. In the last days, whatever communications about Maharaj's health we all have been receiving, so Rishi Kumar Prabhuji was drafting all of them and sharing with us. So next we have with us His Grace Govind Kund Prabhu from Chattogram. That's the birthplace of Srila Pundrik Vidyanidhi in the Bangladesh. And after that, the offerings will be shared by His Grace Mahadham Vrindavan Prabhu from ISKCON Kolkata. So just a humble request, just keep your offerings within 4 minutes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. If you can speak a little bit louder, that would be.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Jnanam Divirandhasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jnana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namo Namayam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauruvani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Desha Tarini Vancha Kalpataruvasya Kripa Sindhu Vaivasa Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to everyone. Prabhuji already declared that I am from Bangladesh, Chattogram. We all were grown with the little knowledge about Sri Pundrik Vidyanidhi. We all were grown with a sloka, Vaishnave Kriya Mudra Vigyana Bujai. I heard it a lot of times from many speakers, but I never experienced it. I got the opportunity, I would say lifetime achievement from His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaja to understand this verse. We can never understand a Vaishnava, we can never recognize a Vaishnava by seeing his activities. Unless you have that mercy, you cannot understand by your on your own. I knew him 10 years back when he was Makhonlal Das. He came to Chattogram, gave us a lot of classes. I personally asked him a lot of questions. He cleared all my conceptual problems. Then, just in 1 year back, yes, more than 1 year back, I received a phone call from my temple president that Govinda, there is a Maharaj in the CCU. You need to go there. You also need to understand that because of his age, sometimes he will act like Lord Shiva, but you need to manage it somehow, and you need to communicate with his personal assistant, and you need to manage him some way. Like, okay, as the temple president of our Chattogram is my Shiksha Guru and gave me the service, I cancelled all my appointment and went to the hospital and saw his face. He was lying down on the bed, but his face like thousand of suns to me. I saw that face. He was totally unconscious. Then so many things happened. As I'm told to make it short, that's why I'm not telling all the things. I got the fortune to serve him for 10 long days, 24 hours, 24 into 10. I was with him. I had a lot of experience from him. I could learn a lot of things. I would say, like, he was transferred from CCU to ICU, and he was creating havoc inside this ICU. Though no one is allowed to enter ICU, I was asked to enter just to make everything normal, to communicate with Maharaj. And I saw he was unconscious for 36 hours, almost 36 hours. And when he was unconscious, he was continuously chanting the name of the Lords. He was continuously chanting the Strota of Narsingadev. We were amazed. Like, he was not responding to us, but he was continuously chanting. And that is the most important thing to all of us to understand about his 53 years of practice in Krishna consciousness, about the state. Then he was recovering. One day, a devotee girl with her family came to visit Maharaj. I'm making it short, Prabhuji. Maharaj gave me the goal of my life, inspired me. How did he do that? I would like to share it with all of you. A devotee girl came. Then immediately Maharaj asked me, Govinda, who is that girl? A devotee. Oh my God. Does he read? Does she study in a school of devotees? I said no. Local school. She is in local.
I think there are some connectivity issues over there. Govind Prabhu, if you can hear it. So, when Maharaj had a major health crisis, as His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj was also sharing a couple of years back, it was devotees from Bangladesh who took extreme
School.
care.
Then Maharaj said to me,
We lost your voice, Prabhuji. Okay, meanwhile, if you can reconnect and you can share again, because we see there are a lot of nectar to share with all of us. So next, we would like to invite His Grace Mahadam Vrindavan Prabhu from ISKCON Kolkata. And after that, we'll be sharing the offering from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So His Grace Mahadam Vrindavan Prabhu, if you are there, you can please come on video and unmute yourself and share your offering. Maharaj would travel to ISKCON Kolkata many times, and he would share his preaching adventures at ISKCON Kolkata with all of us here back at Punjabi Bagh. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji, you can begin to me. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So first of all, I am very thankful to give me this rare opportunity to glorify His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj and express my respect. So actually, I am not so qualified to glorify Maharaj, especially when Maharaj became sick. So actually, I became little casual, so I did not took any report or news of Maharaj. So I thought that Maharaj will get well, but later I found that Maharaj passed away. So so I was feeling very very unfortunate that that I did not took any news of Maharaj, because I had a connection with Kabi Seshpu and other devotees of Punjabi Bagh. So I found myself that it is a great offense, and I missed out Maharaj at least some association. So so therefore I want to take this opportunity to glorify Maharaj and get Maharaj blessings. So Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Niti Namine. So so I met Maharaj first time around 2004 maybe. I'm not exactly sure. So that time Maharaj was coming to our temple, and he was having heavy luggage, and same time he was carrying a lot of deities also. So so I found that Maharaj is very active, and Maharaj was very busy. So so I got this opportunity to that time to help Maharaj. So later I was serving in Bhakti Vriksha department. So I was very fortunate to assist Maharaj for Bhakti Vriksha program. So is to take Maharaj in every day in different program, and I was very fortunate to get opportunity to go with Maharaj, then translate Maharaj classes and help Maharaj. Also I got some opportunity to do some personal services of Maharaj, like feeding Maharaj, and then washing Maharaj clothes, and communicate with the assistant. So so during those time I found that many devotees are little fearful to come forward to Maharaj and talk to Maharaj. So many times devotees used to misunderstand Maharaj, because Maharaj external appearance, physical appearance, and also Maharaj expression of talking. So because I got opportunity to serve my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So therefore I have some some understanding that that if somebody somebody is not like in good health situation, so how to serve him, and how to help him, and how to understand his situation. So so because of that experience, so I was able to do some dealing and service with Maharaj also. But still like I was also little fearful, and when Maharaj used to say something, so I used to reply in my like own sound, own voice, but still it was not audible to Maharaj. So I was not able to understand that how it is not audible to Maharaj, because I was not exactly clear about the Maharaj health situation. So externally, like Maharaj was looking only having like some swelling in his feet, and then he is very like advanced age. But other problem was not like clear to me. So Maharaj used to tell me that speak loudly, but I used to speak my own voice only, like normal voice. But still, it was not able to, like Maharaj was not able to hear. So Maharaj used to chastise me and tell me speak loudly, but I used to speak very softly only. So then Maharaj became angry, and then Maharaj called me and and then he spoke that what are the physical problem he have. So then Maharaj said that he have bypass surgery. Then Maharaj can hear only by one ear, and then Maharaj can see, means he can, his eyesight also like working 50%. Then Maharaj have some skin problem. Then Maharaj have a very advanced age, so it is difficult for him to walk properly. So when Maharaj spoke all these things, so I could understand that how Maharaj have so many health problem, but still he is traveling different part of the world, and he is very powerfully, enthusiastically, vigorously preaching. So when I understood Maharaj health situation, then I could understand that Maharaj is not not in bodily platform. Maharaj is in liberated stage. So so then my respect for Maharaj increased a lot, and then I become more focused and conscious what Maharaj is speaking, and how Maharaj is serving the movement of Srila Prabhupada. So so I was very fortunate to get association of Maharaj, because Maharaj every time when he used to come for Gaur Purnima festival, so before Gaur Purnima festival before going to Mayapur, he used to come to Calcutta, and after returning from Gaur Purnima festival, he used to come through he used to go through Calcutta. So both the time he used to visit the different Bhakti Viksha program. So so I saw Maharaj is very pakka in the morning program, and every day he used to come for morning program, Mangal Aarti, and sing the Mangal Aarti song also, and every day he used to worship the deities. So in his sadhana, like though he was very advanced age and he have lot of physical problem, but his sadhana, his personal practice was very pakka. And same time,
sorry to interrupt you, Prabhuji. Was just we had allocated just 4 minutes for everyone, and there are many Maharaj family members are also there who would like to share. So just if you can conclude in next 60 seconds, it would be very grateful, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
I'm very sorry to interrupt, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhu. So and then Maharaj was very pakka in his own practice, and same time I saw that Maharaj is very enthusiastic to give Krishna consciousness to others. So every day he will go out and preach Krishna consciousness, give Krishna consciousness. So, and even Maharaj used to come late from the program, but Maharaj will not miss his Mangal Aarti. So that was very inspiring from Maharaj life. And when Maharaj used to go for the program, so Maharaj always used to encourage me to take the books. So I saw Maharaj that how Maharaj is to distribute books to the devotees. So we know that how to distribute books to the new people. But when I saw that Maharaj is very expert to distribute books to the already connected people for many years. So I learned book distribution from Maharaj. Also, Maharaj inspired me to take training from devotees from Punjabi Bagh for book distribution. So by Maharaj inspiration, I went to Punjabi Bagh and got training from Nityananda Ashray Prabhu and some other devotees. Maharaj was very like when he used to give class, he was very much Prabhupada conscious. So whenever Maharaj was speaking and enthusiastically, Maharaj remember Prabhupada's standard and what Prabhupada spoke. So that was giving a lot of inspiration and make us connected with Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada teachings. So I'm very fortunate to get association of Maharaj and get also a lot of chastisement from Maharaj. So in this auspicious occasion, so I beg mercy of Maharaj so that I can continue my Krishna consciousness throughout my life. And if I have made any offense, so Maharaj kindly forgive me and bless me. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Iskes Mahadev Vrindavan, Mahadam Vrindavan Prabhu ki jai. The kind of enthusiasm with which you are speaking, it really expresses that Maharaj has touched your heart very deeply. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for
Thank you for
sharing.
giving opportunity.
And His Grace Govind Prabhu, his connection was interrupted in between, so he would like to conclude now. And I would like to request His Grace Govind Prabhu, if you are again connected, you can please come and conclude your offering. After that, we'll read the offering by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. And after that, when Maharaj was in Grahast Ashram, Maharaj's daughter is with all of us, and it's such a wonderful honor and opportunity for us to hear from her. So after that, Maharaj's daughter would be sharing her realization. Yes, His Grace Govind Prabhu, just a humble summation if you can conclude in next 2 minutes, Prabhu.
Yes, definitely, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this wonderful opportunity. I would just like to share one thing to all of you, that how Maharaj gave me the vision of my life, the mission of my life. One day when let me mention, the recovery period of Maharaj was dramatical. Even in the words of doctor, they said, how can a person just recover very quick from ICU? It was really dramatical. It was in the hand of Krishna. You all could understand. Like one day during the recovery period of Maharaj, a girl came to visit with her family to say Maharaj. That time Maharaj asked me about the girl, whether she reads in a devotee school or in local school, public school. Then I simply said that everyone here, all the devotees, all the children are in public school. Then Maharaj said to me, look Govinda, I am giving you one work. I am giving you a challenge, that you are a teacher. You might know a lot of teachers too, devotee teachers too. You must gather all of them and open a school for the devotees, for the children, because the culture around us nowadays are destroying our children. They are destroying in many ways. And I just said that now our children, yes, we need a school, but I don't feel that we need it very badly. Then Maharaj gave me an example, that when the girl will grow up, the friends of the girl will tell her that, do you have a boyfriend? If you don't have, then we cannot mix with you. You are like backdated. This is how our children are getting destroyed from our culture, from their friends, and this is how we are losing them. And in near future, they will create havoc. So I got the inspiration from Maharaj, how he is concerned about the devotees. Even while serving him, while trying to serve him, if I wasted a single piece of tissue paper, then Maharaj used to chastise me. This is how we can easily understand that Maharaj, what is the consciousness of Maharaj. If I just speak all day long, all night long, I will not be able to conclude. So I'm just concluding here by saying this. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Thank
Hare
you so
Krishna.
very much, Prabhuji. And we all are so very grateful to all the devotees from Bangladesh who took such nice care of Maharaj. And we wish you all the very best for the vision that Maharaj has given you, especially to organize a school in Bangladesh. So big Haribol, sincere prayers and best wishes to you. So next we have offering from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Maharaj has sent his offering in a written form, and I would like to request His Murli Krishna Prabhu, who is a vice president of ISKCON Punjabi Bagh. He is the one who has been organizing this entire program and was taking care of Maharaj and especially in the last days. And he was the one who would organize different preaching programs, different servants, and he had a very, very big contributing role in the life of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. So I would like to invite His Grace Murli Krishna Prabhu to share that offering with all of you. And it's in front of you, and we have shared the screen. So Prabhuji will be.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, Hare Krishna. I would like to offer my respects to His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami by noting some of my important observations and reflections about him. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami was strongly loyal to Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON. His classes were very engaging, and I have heard that no one in the audience could go to sleep. He had made a vibrant preaching temple, ISKCON Punjabi Bagh in Delhi, as his base. He was always in a preaching mood and actively lived his life preaching Krishna consciousness. In the recent past, he went to Bangladesh to preach. The Bangladesh devotees were very enlivened by his presence among them. He would attend the Mayapur festival every year and join the parikrama. He would always carry his deities with him. He accompanied me in Ganga preaching safari in 2003. During that trip, he was a strong, inspiring presence to other members of the safari. We would have large audiences at our preaching programs, and he gave an enthusiastic lectures and also gave his time for one-to-one preaching. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said that one who has life will preach. From His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj's preaching, we can see that he was always full of life. His preaching, his presence will be very much missed by all of us. It would be good for all those who had his association to keep the fire of his preaching spirit alive. Your servant, Jai Pataka Swami. So, His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj ki Jai. And we would like to invite daughter of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, Her Grace Vanmali Mataji from St. Joe's. And please speak. We would be very happy to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
We have been so grateful to Mataji. She shared so many of the details of Maharaj's lives in his early years and shared so many pictures of the devotees in Maharaj's life years. Shared many pictures of Mataji Maharaj's school days. So yes, Mataji, please.
We're having some technical.
We are all eagerly waiting to hear from you. So yes, Mataji, please.
Welcome.
We are all eagerly.
Okay, I'm sorry, the video is not working, but the audio is working. Okay, so first of all, I would like to offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Shri Guru Parampara and all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. I'm also would like to say how much I'm appreciating all of these offerings very, very much. Thank you so much. So I have written something, and I've written it to my Pitaji. So I will just read it because I'm not a speaker and I'm not so accustomed to. So my dearmost Pitaji, I offer my heartfelt obeisances unto the shelter of your parental love, devotion, affection, dedication, protection, lifelong Guru Nishta and Seva. All glories to Akhanda Guru Shri Nityananda. All glories to Shri Chaitanya. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Being raised by you was being raised by the Vani of Shri Guru Parampara. It is such a glorious upbringing and gift of the rarest birth and opportunity. All of my childhood play carries memories of Shri Guru, Vaishnavas, Krishna, and the supremacy, purity, and upliftment of transcendental sound vibration. Sitting on your lap, I always heard Srimad Bhagavatam and Krishna book. Sleeping, waking, and playing, I was always hearing Srila Prabhupada. You taught by example. Even the tiny insect received the compassion and mercy of the holy names. Even the homeless person who carried a terribly unpleasant odor, who came unbathed as a beggar in the temple of the Lord, was served with respect and kindness, equal to everyone else, and fed a sumptuous feast of Krishna Prasad to their full satisfaction. They also received the benefit of having large amounts of very potent incense offered on their behalf. I weep profusely with gratitude for your sacrifice, austerity, and adherence to Srila Prabhupada's instructions. I weep with gratitude for my good fortune. You served me as a parent with so much love that now I feel the great loss of the opportunity to serve and give back to you. To truly offer my respects and give back to you is to live a life of spiritual practice and endeavor on the path of bhakti and fulfillment of my soul's eternal dharma. To truly honor you is to take fully to following in the footsteps of our Guru Parampara as you have done and exemplified in your lifetime of service. Separation from you is the pain of feeling separation from a Vaishnava. You fully flourished in your seva and chanting of the holy names, while carefully guarding against the 10 offenses, the instruction of Sriman Mahaprabhu given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur of Aparadha Shunya Hoy Loho Krishna Nam, free yourself from offense and just chant the holy name of Shri Krishna, was carried by you and taken to heart. More than this, you humbly and affectionately offered praise to the Vaishnavas. You always saw the good and glories in others. Therefore, those qualities also belong to and decorated you. You always gave encouragement, kind words, and help to those in need. You followed the principles of Srila Rupa Goswami by accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable to bhakti, and remained in the association of auspicious persons. You very much appreciated Krishna's attractive bodily features, and you used to send me photos along with your comments of his decorated navel, painted body, and other beautiful parts, which had attracted your mind and speech. You glorified Radharani and her sweetness and mercy. You saw all babies, girls, and women to be a reflection of myself, your daughter, and treated them with respect and a protective fatherly mood. I witnessed and also heard accounts from persons who personally experienced this. As my loving father, no matter how old I became, I have always been the beneficiary of your affection and instruction in a childlike position. To my surprise, though, in your humility, you would invite me to share any realizations with you, as if I had something which you could learn from, and as if I were on an equal platform to speak tattvas and siddhantas to you. When I shared anything for your happiness, you thanked me as if you had tasted and realized something new, and you appreciated and treasured it. Oh, I always heard from devotees who had seen you that you gave the message that you were very proud of me. This causes me to weep profuse tears. I am becoming more and more proud of you every day, the more I learn about you and hear accounts of your service to Shri Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas from others. You surrendered to Shri Guru and Krishna while tolerating great difficulty. You always preach the glories of the Lord, and you are yourself the recipient of the Lord's special mercy. He induced you to completely let go of the material world because you sincerely desired to serve him in his eternal abode. Excuse me. He brought you closer and closer to him, and the goal of going back home, back to Godhead. Sorry. Because you earnestly desired You willingly accepted a lifetime of austerity and faithfully offered your heart, words, and body in the service of the Lord. In the words of Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Arana Koriyo Mane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati E Se Uttamagati Je Prasade Pure Sarva Asha. Make the teachings emanating from the lotus mouth of our spiritual master one with your heart, and do not desire anything else. Attachment to his lotus feet is the best way to make spiritual advancement. His mercy fulfills all desires for spiritual perfection. You have certainly done this, Pitaji. I celebrate your life as a complete success. With humility, intense separation, and regret that I did not have the opportunity to give back to you in service, and with ever-increasing love and affection for you as my father, as well as a Vaishnava, your daughter, Vanamali Devidasi. Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Radhe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Mataji, for such a heartfelt offering. And with your kind permission, I would like to put that you can, if you can very mercifully share what you have written, we would like to put that up on our website and share with all the community who are not present here. Thank you so very much. And the next, I'd like to invite His Grace Chaturatma Netai Prabhu from Bangladesh. So if you can come and share your offering. So meanwhile, His Grace Chaturatma Netai Prabhu connects with us. Okay, yes, Prabhu.
Hello, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the Maharajas and Vaishnavas. I'm Chaturatma Nitai Das from Bangladesh, Cox's Bazar. So I'm so fortunate to got opportunity to speak about something His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj. Om Pancha Kalpataruvhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. My English is not very well, but I will try to speak because everybody is speaking English. Before I used to speak in Hindi. So I just want to say His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami Maharaj, year 2019, on July, during the Rath Yatra festival, Maharaj is come to Bangladesh, and the place of ours the name is Cox's Bazar, and it was my opportunity to that Maharaj was at my home, and because my home was very near to the local temple, and the temple president His Radha Govinda Prabhu give me opportunity to serve the His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Goswami Maharaj, because Maharaj came alone, there was no servant, and Maharaj come to reached at my home around 9:30 at night. And before that, the servant of Maharaj, His Grace Kobishrest Prabhu, give me some information about the Maharaj, and according to his information, I was prepared. I was trying to get prepared for Maharaj rooms and foods, everything as my best. So Maharaj reached at home at night. After that, he went to the washroom. After washroom, Maharaj come and he took the foods. And I was so afraid because Kavisas Prabhu is telling me that Maharaj is a little angry if he is not getting everything is perfect. So that's why, because I never served before the disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and it was my challenge that everybody tell me you can do it, and I was trying to do myself and my wife also. And Maharaj came at night, and after that he took the foods and he went for the rest. And after that, early in the morning, before 4 o'clock, Maharaj wake up, and before 4:30, Maharaj come to the for the Mangal Arati. And I was me, Maharaj, and there was one another servant. We performed the Mangal Arati. Unfortunately, that day, my wife and my daughter they wasn't wake up for the Mangal Arati because we slept last night was very late due to some devotees came and we feed them, and we wash the kitchen and we sleep late. I wake up early in the morning and I prepare for the Mangal Arati. And after that, Maharaj wanted to go to the temple for the Bhagavad part in the morning 7:30. And when Maharaj wanted to go there, and I took the Maharaj, and Maharaj asked me that why your daughter and your wife didn't wake up for Mangal Arati. Did there was the TB last night? I told Maharaj no, because they sleep at very late. That's why they are not able to wake up in the morning. Actually, I saw the Maharaj is the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. It was my experience. That's how they were dedicated to Srila Prabhupada, which we are not to our spiritual master. And I have so many experience with the Maharaj. Maharaj asked me to make for Maharaj some vegetables like mixed vegetable with the carrot, capsicum, and some other potatoes. And Maharaj asked me to cook the vegetable that capsicum will not change the color. It will be as it is. But I was so nervous, and I was trying to do that, but Maharaj saw the cooked that I have. It was not perfect. And Maharaj come and ask me, I am asking you to do this, and why you do that? It is not why you boil the capsicum, you should not boil, and so many things. I was so nervous because because this is first time that I have served the Prabhupada disciple. And after that, I took Maharaj to the temple, and Maharaj when I start the preaching, then after that immediately I went to the market. Again I brought some vegetables what Maharaj like. Again I tried to cook for the Maharaj another next time. And when Maharaj after finished the Bhagavad class, and he come and I served to him, and Maharaj was so happy that this is what I like and this is what exactly I need. So that time I was so happy, at least that I can do something for the son of Srila Prabhupada. And everything, so many things I have learned from the Maharaj. And Maharaj, for every simple things, he wants to priest and even a single devotee, why he did not wear the kurta, why he did wear the shirt. He is asking every simple things. And after next day, that was the Rath Yatra. We took Maharaj to the stage of the Rath Yatra program. After the Rath Yatra program is finished, Maharaj wanted to go sit on the chariot of the Jagannath. Maharaj should not, because the chariot was is the very high. And we asked Maharaj that Maharaj, it is not possible for you to the seat there. We can arrange in a small vehicle, at least you can sit on the vehicle in front of the chariot, then we can go. Maharaj said no, I wanted to go there. The crowd around more than 10,000 devotees was there. Finally Maharaj said okay, no problem, bring me a car. And we have spent 3 days very beautifully with the Maharaj. Sometimes Maharaj was shout at me because I was not a perfect servant for the Maharaj, but I was trying myself to do best. I took it is my challenge. I will try to satisfy the Maharaj, because it is my duty, because there was nobody else, no permanent
I think, Prabhuji, you went on mute mode, Prabhuji, by mistake. Hare Krishna. You are on mute mode, Prabhuji. Chaturatmane type.
Haribol.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear it. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
just a humble request, Prabhuji, if you can conclude in next 60 seconds, because we wish
Okay.
to finish this program by 7 p.m. and there are some more devotees.
Sure, Prabhuji. So after that, Maharaj he went to the Chittagong, and during Maharaj left, I asked Maharaj, that Maharaj, please forgive me because I could not serve you well, and I cannot satisfy you. Maharaj told me, no problem, you are new, but the blessings I got from my Maharaj and my wife and my daughter, I cannot forget. Really, he was like my father after he went from our place, and it was very painful for me, my wife, my daughter, everyone. It was very unhappy that, and the mercy we got from the Maharaj, it's unforgettable. And I'm really very fallen soul, and I'm always unhappy. I don't know, because I lost my small baby, 2 years and 10 months old, my son. I lost him 3 years back after that. So I told Maharaj, he said, your son is went to the Urda Loka, and Maharaj blessings my sons, Maharaj bless my daughters, and I will never forget. And so I just want to say that, Maharaj, if I have any mistake on your lotus feet, please forgive me, and I beg the blessings from the Maharaj, from all the Vaishnavas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Disgrace Chaturatmane Nitai Prabhu. We all, our sincere prayers are there for your son as well. Thank you so much for sharing this offering. Next, we have with us His Grace Shiva Chaitanya Prabhu, and after that, we have His Grace Madhusudan Hari Prabhu. So, just a humble request, Prabhuji, if you can finish your offering in next couple of minutes, so that we can all complete this program by 7 o'clock, and this will be the Damodar. So, yes, Shiva Chaitanya Prabhu. Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Pranam for everyone. Hare Krishna. I'm in Penang Subrangya Temple. So at 2009, Maharaj came here because somebody have to arrange for Maharaj program. So I take, that time I was in KL, Kuala Lumpur. So I make a arrangement for Maharaj for traveling. So that time Maharaj came with, I think, Kavi Srista. Yeah, Kavi Srista who came those times. And Maharaj was very strong person, as others describing. So I was a bit alert when serving Maharaj. But when I see associating with him and arranging programs, and then he become more like we have some loving relationship, very nice relationship. Although it seems like Maharaj heavy with someone who doesn't like hanky panky, or someone who's not truly follow. So Maharaj will be heavy. But when we the brahmacharis, we together, I organized a program, then we drove Maharaj. So when we associating, when we seeing Maharaj attachment for his deity, so usually what we do, we travel one place to another, so we take all the deities. So Maharaj said, my deity like programs. So usually we
Hare Krishna, Shiva Chaitanya Prabhu, your volume
yes.
is reduced. Yes, thank you. Please, yes, that's better.
Okay. So so when we are traveling in the highway, so it's a nice experience in the highway, so freeway. So I was driving, and Maharaj was sitting beside me, and then some brahmachari were carrying the deity behind me. So so when Maharaj was stopping in R&R, resting area, so Maharaj said, okay, my deity likes snacks, so please buy some snacks for Maharaj. So we got some nuts and all this to buy, and then Maharaj has to offer. So we will offer. So the Maharaj says, because while traveling, there's no tulasi to offer and all. So Maharaj says, you chant tulasi, tulasi, tulasi. So we chant tulasi, tulasi, then we offer.
And then usually by traveling, we make it like quick offering, like 5 minutes, something like that. Then suddenly Maharaj, Maharaj offering done, Maharaj. So we try to take out the offering. Then Maharaj was sitting there, and Maharaj says, "Don't snatch from my deity." so, so, so leave it for 15 minutes offering. My deity like to enjoy this. So this kind of interaction of Maharaj is so wonderful that so is like we can feel that really that Maharaj is dealing with the personalities. The Supreme Personality is it's not like a something because our mind, we're thinking of deity or never mind, we take it easy. But Maharaj is really take care as a person. So that personal worship of the Lord really can personify by Maharaj behavior, Maharaj interaction between the deity. So I mean, even during Abhishek, during he play, so you see, so it's a very nice mood. That was attracting me with Maharaj mood of serving the deity. Is really his thing, that's Krishna. And then another point of what I see from Maharaj is on the compassion. His compassion is unlimited, because when he came to Malaysia, so he traveled different places. He always emphasized Vedic schools. One devotee was mentioning earlier. So he always mentioning on the Vedic school, want to establish a school. So he did a survey. Actually, he went to different centers. He talked to the leaders, and then he was survey what happened in the school, all the details he took, and then he wrote one thesis, the whole survey and everything, and then he presented to the leaders. So he says, this is the importance of Vedic school. What is the importance of Vedic school? So he want to establish actually in Malaysia. So by some or other, he tried to get all the ex-teachers, 8 masters, devotee 8 masters to get them together, put a committee. But the first visit he was doing that. Then the second visit, devotee not doing it, not so inspired to do. So it was, it's not like Maharaj not much emphasized on that, because that's, but we always feel that Maharaj compassion and his mercy to the devotees here, devotees, especially the children, devotee children. So you always want them to be Krishna conscious through the better association, not the karmic association where they get influenced by the others, materialistics. So this is a mood of Maharaj to save the devotees. So that's we find.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we have a couple of devotees waiting.
Okay.
And by 7 o'clock IST Damodarashtra prayers will start.
Okay,
so,
bro.
yeah,
So it's a wonderful association with Maharaj. So I beg this Maharaj mercy so that we also always be in Krishna conscious and serving the Guru and Krishna. Hare Krishna. Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Maharaj ki.
Thank you so very much, Prabhuji. Next, we have with us His Grace Madhusudan Hari Prabhu from Bengaluru. Whenever Maharaj would travel, he would stay at his home in Bengaluru. So I would like to request His Grace Madhusudan Hari Prabhu, if you can kindly come and share your offering.
Hare Krishna.
A humble request to keep it very brief, Prabhuji. Thank you.
I'm from.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, with Maharaj, it's been a very, very sweet relationship. My first meeting with Maharaj, I was in t-shirt and jeans, and somebody introduced me, and then Maharaj caught me by the t-shirt and pulled my t-shirt. So I've never had a Maharaj pull my t-shirt and pull my jeans. But we got really close, and I never felt bad. And I just kept getting chastised by him. He used to pull my t-shirt, pull my jeans. I had to drive Maharaj in Bangalore. And he's the only Maharaj in the world who's punched me in the ribs. Because he'll tell me, you got to do this, you got to do this. And my wife will say, what kind of relationship you'll have? So it has been amazingly sweet. His chastisement has been really, really sweet. And he's been my Maharaj in ISKCON, I would say. Very, very loving. The amount of love, the sweetness, I've never experienced anything like that in our movement. And we loved serving him prasadam. He relished the prasadam. He came to Bangalore, and before he came, there used to be these mails saying no fermented food and no potato. And then we should tell Maharaj, we have dosa, because dosa is fermented. And he used to say, yes, I have dosa. And then he used to say, where's the potato stuffing? Where's the potato stuffing? Because, you know, that's the specialty in South India. And then the servants used to just give up. They used to say, okay, no, let him have what he wants. We'll go back to Delhi and then put him back on his diet. So there were very sweet moments with him, and the whole family loved him. He was like, you know, a father figure for us, chastising us, correcting us. It's the moments we'll never forget. I mean, these are treasures for us. Our memories with Maharaj are really our treasure. And my wife used to make burgers for him, and sometimes you ask him, what do you have for dinner? And he'll say, I'll have your wife's world class, the world famous burgers. And she would say, when did the burgers become world famous? She was extremely affectionate, extremely loving, very special person. We'll never forget. My wife also just say something.
Maharaj had a childlike innocence and he was very fond of everyone. He would be very sweet and he was a serious chanter. Even when he would wait at the table till we served him, he would chant on his big beats. And he had the qualities of a amazing devotee, and the simplicity and innocence. And it was such a pleasure. And we should wait to see him smile. And after every prasadam, he'd be so grateful. He'd say thank you, and it was an amazing experience. And his deities, he had a wonderful relationship with the deities, and he would tell us, they talk to me. And sometimes he'd say, make popcorn for my deities. And it was
I just want to add one sentence. Maharaj never tried to make an impression. He never tried to show he's anything else. He was how he was, whether in the class or out of the class. He was just absolutely transparent and honest. And he's the only Maharaj who used to call me from the Vyasasana, because I used to go late to the temple, and then he used to call me on the mobile. Where are you? Why are you not in the Bhagavatam class? Yeah, Maharaj, I'm on the way. And then I should reach there and be there in the Bhagavatam class. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Maharaj ki jai.
His Grace Madhusudan, Hari Prabhu ki. Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for coming and sharing our offering. So next we have with us His Grace Chaitanya Vishnu Prabhu, who served Maharaj in Nairobi, Kenya. So Prabhuji, can you come and please share your offering?
Here and giving your phone also.
You can unmute yourself and we are not able to hear you. Yes, can you speak a little loudly, Prabhuji?
Are you able to hear me now? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, your voice is coming. It's little low, but yes, please you continue with your offering.
Okay, Hare Krishna. I met Maharaj when I was 16 years old. I was a full-time brahmachari in the Nairobi temple. And when Maharaj came, there were some devotees who were serving him, but because Maharaj was very strict, the devotees were not able to do the service. But because I was the new Bhakta, I was told to serve Maharaj, and Maharaj had come with Kavi Shresh Prabhu. So there are many things that I experienced with Maharaj in the next 2 months that I served him full time, because Kavi Shresh Prabhu actually allowed me to serve Maharaj, and I got a lot of training from Maharaj. One of the experiences I had with Maharaj is because I have a lot of trouble waking up early, is that one day at 5 in the morning, I had not yet woken up. So Maharaj was starting his Shaligram worship and I was not ready. So Maharaj came to the room where I was sleeping, and he took his danda and he hit me on the chest and said, "Wake up, Chandan, wake up. My Karmi name is Chandan." And so Maharaj woke me up, and I still remember that. And it was a lot of mercy from Maharaj, because even my own parents don't come and wake me up with so much love. So it was a big thing. One of the things that really touched me a lot is that I had to leave the temple because of certain reasons, because of trouble with some other devotees. And at that point, I was going to give up on my Krishna consciousness. I had joined by reading Prabhupada's books, and I had said, this movement is good, but it's only good in the books. And that day, that was the decision I made, and I went home. And in the evening, Maharaj came to my home. He took the temple car and he came to my home and he said, let's go back to the temple. And for my family, none of them were Krishna conscious. So when they saw an Indian family saying a white sannyasi is a very big deal. So when Maharaj came to my home and he got me and he said, you have to come back right now. So I explained to Maharaj and he said he understood the situation and said, no, you have to go back. And so I went back with Maharaj. And after that, I served Maharaj for another one. So actually Maharaj saved me and it was huge. It was a really big deal. And after that, there was a lot of information that Maharaj shared with me. Like, at that point, my mom wanted me to go to America to get educated. Maharaj said, no, you should stay here. And I did that. And it saved me from a lot of fall down, I would say, or, getting entangled in Maya. And after that, I was in the Gurukul in the Mayapur, the Maharaj's Gurukul Bhakti Vedanta Academy. So while I was there, I would meet Maharaj during the festivals. And there were a lot of things that Maharaj would tell me in confidence because of the past I got to serve him. So a few of the things that he told me was that as we advance in spiritual life, one of the most important things is to make sure that our heart becomes softer with our own God brothers, with our own God sisters, with karmis, with neophytes, with even dogs on the road, especially in Mayapur. Maharaj, what you have the shops in Mayapur where people eat prasad and then the street dogs come. Maharaj used to say it's an offense to eat and the dog is staring at you. You make sure you give the dog some food. So he said that is aparat dhambas, and that was something that people are very neglectful of, and neglectful of their God brothers. And so he said, if we advance, we should be very careful to ensure that our heart becomes soft. Then during the Gaur Purnima festival, as in Mayapur that year when I was there, the Gurukul boys, we had set up 3 pandals, each one for a different group of devotees. And so there was one for Prabhupada disciples. So when Maharaj went to do the Abhishek, because we were chanting mantras, Maharaj gave me his danda and he went. I thought he's just going for a few minutes and he's coming. Maharaj stood there for an hour. So I held his danda for an hour. So it was very awkward that, among the Gurukul boys, one boy is holding the danda and Maharaj is going there. And so when he came back, he said, oh, you look very good with the danda, but you will take sannyas, not now, but you should take one day. So for me, that was like, okay. And Gaur Purnima day to get Maharaj's extra blessings in Mayapur was a big deal. But actually, I'd like to just share this final point is that at that time when I joined the ashram, I had joined by reading Prabhupada's books. And I was so innocent and very vulnerable to whatever I was being trained. And at that point, Maharaj came into my life and gave me this view of what Prabhupada wanted us as a young generation to be. And there's this idea that, everyone should just join full time and not have any consideration of responsibilities or being, in a material way, supportive to ISKCON as an asset. And that had already derailed me. And that eventually would have made me become spiteful of ISKCON. But because of Maharaj, I understood that actually I can become very more useful to ISKCON if I become educated and if I work. That time I was 16 years old. So because of Maharaj's mercy, because he came to get me from my home, because he trained me for 2 months, he taught me so many things. He taught me the 26 qualities of the Vaishnavas. He taught me Dita. And because of him today, I'm 26 years old, and by his mercy, I've become a CFO for a manufacturing firm. And I'm the youngest ever to have done it. But 100%, it's all because of Maharaj's mercy. And so whatever I have, I want to offer it in Maharaj service. And one of the biggest services that Maharaj did when he came here, he inspired some of the senior devotees to start school preaching. And one of the devotees took it up just, to try because Maharaj said, and amazingly, it became successful. And so many young boys and girls have come through the school preaching and, joined ISKCON as youngsters. And it's a very big thing for us because it's not something that ideally you can see people preaching to youngsters. So because of Maharaj's mercy, he's changed my life. Definitely, he's changed my family's life, and he's really saved a lot of us. And we're very grateful to him. It's very sad that Maharaj is gone, but obviously his teachings are there with us. And so I'm very grateful, and I really want to thank him so much for coming to Kenya and sharing his mercy. And thank you for the devotees to give us this chance.
Thank you so very much, His Grace Chaitanya Vishnu Prabhu, for such a heartfelt offering. So next, we have a written offering by Her Grace Sudevi Sarojini Mataji from Malaysia. And I would like to request His Grace Murli Krishna Prabhu to read that offering.
Hare Krishna. Mataji met with an accident and 3 days ago, and she doesn't have a Zoom app. So therefore, she requested us to read on her behalf. This is her offering. I had known Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj when he came with his caring and noble assistant, Kavi Shrestha Prabhu, from Delhi to ISKCON Seberang Jaya Todu Penang. At that time, I wasn't initiated yet. For the first time, hearing that Maharaj and his assistant arrived, had no prasadam left to eat, I felt nervous and oh my God, what shall I do? Furthermore, I heard that Maharaj keeps a very high standard and some devotees get chastised too if something is not right. So I thought to myself, what more being a lady? I would not get a chance to serve Maharaj and his associate, and thinking of what they might like or not like makes me scared, adrenaline rushing in my body. So I thought to myself, oh, what the hell? If I got chastised, also let it be as long as they had something to eat, like Prabhupada said, no one should go hungry with a 10 miles radius. What more a sannyasi going hungry? No way, man. So I'm prepared for the worst chastised ever. As long as both of our guests had something to eat after a long, tired journey. I quickly drove to the nearby Billion supermarket in my Mr. Bean's car and bought some fruits, a marigold, fresh orange juice, and passed it to his assistant Kavi Shesh Prabhu in a scared mood, saying, these are for Maharaj. The next day, Maharaj asked, who was the person who brought the fruits yesterday? And I went to see Maharaj thinking, oh dear, I am going to get scolding. But I was surprised to hear Maharaj saying thank you, and that his appreciation tone in his voice and eyes was like a smooth feather falling on me. And Maharaj said, he needs to take lots of fruits and juices daily, if possible tomorrow, to get him more fruits and some juices. Kavi Sresh Prabhu also informed that Maharaj's favorite is orange juice. So every day I bought the items, and at the last day before leaving to Indonesia, Maharaj told me next time, get him another brand of orange juice and not marigold, as it's sweet. So the following year, heard that Maharaj is coming again, so I started to list the purchase list for Maharaj, making sure not to get Maharaj marigold orange juice. Then later I found that Maharaj couldn't make it to Malaysia and diverted to Indonesia. It was like a bombshell falling onto me, heartbroken, of course. Maharaj had also found out that I had some family problem at that time, and he gave some very valuable advice and examples to me on how to deal about with my daughter too. Thank you, Maharaj, for your blessing, which we are indebted to you for. I had taken your guidance. Now I'm initiated, and my daughter Tushantili is 18 years old and studying foundation in science leading to MBBS. On the other hand, I felt sad that I wasn't be able to fulfill your last wish of offering you other brand orange juice beside marigold, as you have left leaving me too soon, Maharaj. I'm surely to miss you and all of your Jagannath's deities, and nicely decorated in the altar. They're very cute and brings joy to my heart. Each time I see Jagannath stuffies, it reminds me of you, Maharaj. Lastly, you may rest in peace, and please bless me and my family to come visit your beautiful temples in Delhi and your Samadhi in Vrindavan, so that I can offer you a glass of orange juice. Love you, Maharaj, from Sudevi Sarojini Devidasi, Todu Yatra, Penang, Malaysia. Hare Krishna. So last, we would have a video offering by His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, and one of our devotees in Delhi had made a nice video about Maharaj. So we'll continue those videos, and with that we'll conclude today's ceremony. And we are very grateful to all the devotees for your kind presence and for this memorial ceremony. And I would like to inform, on 6th of December, we are going to have a local festival which would be in Hindi language for the devotees of Punjabi Bagh and NCR, Delhi NCR. So if that would be also telecasted online, and you can watch it and remember Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Share compressor.
Ajanitai Prabhu, we are not able to hear the sound. If you can ensure the sound also comes. While sharing the screen, there's an option to share the sound, computer sound, and that's you would need to again share it, Ajanitai Prabhu. You can close the share and again share So it will show a option of sharing this computer sound at the bottom left.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj ki jai. It's a great loss for ISKCON society because of the passing of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj. Such a dynamic and enthusiastic and highly enlightened personality. I got an opportunity to come across him few times in my stay in Bombay and in Pune. So he was His Grace Makanlal Prabhu during Prabhupada times. As we see him walking with Prabhupada in the morning walk, he is a lover of Prabhupada because I was into youth preaching, and Maharaj several times called me and very kindly, mercifully gave me his personal association. I can share a few instances in that regard. Once he called me and told me that this Darwin's evolution theory has to be blown off. And Prabhupada very much wanted children to understand the proper Vedic way of understanding how the living entities originated. So in that connection, he was speaking about the difference between life and matter for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And he said we should actually approach this subject from all different media, through articles in papers and through videos, YouTube videos, and through making textbooks and reaching out to people. And he even said, I am willing, if you want, I can speak out and somebody can transcribe. You could make a book kind of thing, a pocket book or something which can reach to hundreds and thousands of college students. So he said this is one thing Prabhupada wanted very much. He was telling. This was one occasion. Then I told him that I will ask the Chaitanya Charan Prabhu to meet him because he's a scientific-minded devotee, and it would be nice if he works with Maharaj and brings up something. So, in the same manner, another time when I was in IAAC meeting, there was a talk about youth ministership. His Grace Bhasgosh Prabhu was very strongly pushing me that I should take up that service of youth ministership. Although I was not ready because of so many responsibilities already on my plate. So when that topic came up, His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Maharaj stood up and he volunteered. When they asked for volunteers, who would like to take it? He volunteered for it. He said, I really want to do that. And he said, one of my dreams, he said, is to see that all over India, all the youths will wear dhoti and kurta, and they will wear tilak and kantimala, and they will carry a bead bag. They'll be chanting and dancing in the streets. And then he said, we should show the entire world that we can have 50,000 or 1 lakh or 5 lakh youths wearing dhoti kurta, and we follow the culture of our country. Then he was telling that wearing this pant shirt is a dress. This habit came because of the British invasion in India. The traditional culture is to wear dhoti kurta. Prabhupada went to the West, and he never changed his clothes from dhoti kurta to pant shirt. He made the Westerners wear the Vedic dress. He said we should institute the same in India. So very strongly he spoke. So he expressed his desire that he would like to take lead in seeing all the youths of India do this. So this is another occasion I remember having an encounter with Prabhu. And I had invited him to Pune temple for giving lectures, and he gave some Srimad Bhagavatam classes. One observation I made is he is very intelligent, very deeply knowledgeable. Very meticulous examples he gives. I appreciated him personally. Scientific examples. And he repeats many Prabhupada examples very nicely, and the way he would narrate very jovially, very in a friendly mood. And he would speak very bold, like defeating the atheists and defeating the pseudo gurus and religionists. So it was always a thrill for me to spend time with him. I would return back with a lot of learnings Second time I met him in Pune, I took my notebook and pen to go and note down so many things. Nectar flows out of his mouth. Then lastly, we met him when he came to Pune when he was sick. He was taking some Ayurvedic treatment. So we arranged for his accommodation and prasad in Pune. He had deities to be taken care of, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, our devotees went and assisted him. Now I came to know that Maharaj has gone back to Godhead. Of course, he is very happy back to Godhead, but we are lamenting for missing such a great soul amidst us. And we will remember and cherish the wonderful teachings he gave us. And so loyally, faithfully, he served Prabhupada all his life. And his heart became filled with love for Prabhupada, love for Krishna. And always he would talk Krishna conscious philosophy while walking, while coming, while eating, at every moment. He was a lover of Vaishnavas, very much. He would embrace the brahmacharis and he would express his great affection for Vaishnava devotees. Surely he is joining Prabhupada in some other universe, assisting him in his preaching mission. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Chakalpatarubhya Shakrapasantubhya Vachipatana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Would like to thank His Grace Radhishna Prabhu, and on that note, we would like to thank each and every one of you who have joined us for this program. Be it Maharaj's dedication in following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, Maharaj's preaching spirit, Maharaj's attachment to deities, Maharaj's fatherly love, and he was a father, a grandfather, an uncle, a friend, a companion to whom we could always turn to in a time of crisis. Maharaj's jolly nature. So we would like to conclude by reading one statement from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada dedicated the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam to his spiritual master, and he wrote, "He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the followers lives with him." So we are very sure that Maharaj is living in each and every one of our heart. One of the best gifts that Srila Prabhupada has given to this world are his truly dedicated followers, which are carrying his mission forward. And one of the best offerings to Maharaj would be to follow his teachings, follow his examples, and share it with others. And with that note, I would like to also invite His Grace Murli Krishna Prabhu to conclude the ceremony, and then we would have a small video of Maharaj, which is based upon compiling very different, very beautiful, very unique pictures from his life's journey.
Hare Krishna. So behind organizing this program, and we would like to thank many devotees, and especially our MC, Master of Ceremonies, His Premanjan Prabhu, and His Jyotishwar Prabhu, Hari Prabhu, and Ajanitai Prabhu, Abhishek Prabhu, and many devotees served Maharaj during the last days. It was very intense in the ICU, and especially the first batch of attendants being in ICU, they all caught the infection, COVID. And then the second batch of attendants were attending to Maharaj, and eventually Maharaj was shifted to the a home ICU setup in the temple. So on 14th of November. So of course the whole ISKCON world will miss, but we at devotees at ISKCON Punjabi Bagh are definitely missing his association very much, and especially the room where Maharaj stayed. So we are trying to make a small memorial in the room with Maharaj's most used belongings, and and some photographs and other things. So if any of you ever visit Delhi, we request you to please kindly visit Punjabi Bagh, and of course take darshan of his beloved Krishna Balaram, Radhika Raman, and his worshipable Shaligram Shilas, and the memorial. And if you visit to Vrindavan, then in the Goshala there is a Maharaj Samadhi, which also please visit. And we all thank you all very much, and we seek your blessings and prayers that we continue our service to ISKCON, to Srila Prabhupada and his followers, and we seek your blessings for that. So thank you very much for being with us today, and and we are very sorry for the devotees who little bit could not get a time. Whatever best we could collect the contacts and organize. So any challenges and any difficulties which you face during the coordination, we apologize. But we request everybody, whatever audios, videos, text, poems and offerings you have, please do post it on the email ID circulated to you. If not, you have my WhatsApp number and other contact details. We'll put on the ISKCON Punjabi Bagh website, and then the devotees can. It will be a very good collection of memories in the memory of His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj ki jai. And this is a video which will continue. So if you have time, I would request, devotees have worked very hard day and night, many nights behind this wonderful sweet video. So if you can all visit, all see the video, that will be very nice. We'll do post it on our website as well. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. On behalf of ISKCON Punjabi Bagh, and especially our GBC Gopal Krishna Maharaj, our temple presidents, His Grace Rukmini Krishna Prabhu and His Grace Varaha Prabhu, both of them could only partially make it to the entire program. On behalf of them, we would like to thank all of you and pay your humble obeisances at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna. Yes, and 6th December we are having a memorial program and a feast, because online we cannot have prasadam, but in the memory of Maharaj we'll have a feast at ISKCON Punjabi Bagh for the devotees. Of course, please pray, because the COVID situation is getting worse, so government is putting certain restrictions, but still we'll try to organize within following all the protocols and norms. So Ajinitai Prabhu, kindly put on the video. Hare Krishna.
Amora Varurupa Kahasanota Mahadasa Raghunatha Pandita Pava Amora Pada Juga Kaha Kavira Dekha Kale Kota Gila Puranata Ra Dekha Kale Kota Gila Dekha Kale Kota Gila Gauranata Ra Dekha Kale Jayam Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vashane Ku Tivo Mata Anale Pashiva Turanga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gele Pavo Turanga Gunera Nidhi Sesta Batang Giro Sange Chekoilo Bila Sangana Paya Kande Naru Tomoda Prema dana koruna prachu Jayanilo 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 prema dana koruna prachu Jayanilo
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we would like to welcome His Grace Basu Ghosh Prabhu also for today's meeting. Prabhuji, we are almost at the conclusion of the program. And would you like to offer some glorifications for Maharaj? But we only request
Sure.
it has to be a little short because we have the next
That's
meeting on the
okay.
same night. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
It's okay. It's okay, Prabhu. I actually forgot. And then somehow I remembered. Before I begin, let me offer my respects to Naranarayan Prabhu, who is the elder brother of Purva Ashram. I haven't seen him for a long time. He's up there now. He's probably 80 years old, I think, or more. Only 80. I can't hear him. But
77.
anyway,
Prabhuji, he must be 77 because Maharaj is 2 years elder than Maharaj, and Maharaj is was going to 75th on 24th of December.
Oh,
okay. Young man of 70, almost 77, December 20th.
Wow. Wow. My late father was born in December. But anyway, that's irrelevant.
Both December. He was 4th on the 20th.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time because, I've been requested to keep it short, but, the first time I met Maharaj was in New Delhi in 1974. And we took a slow train, the Dehradun Express, from Delhi to Bombay. And he was a leader of we were just 5 devotees. What happened that Prabhupada had split the 400 devotees that came for the 1974 Mayapur festival, and I was a bacha. I was 18, hadn't turned 19 years old. And, so that train, my God, what did it take? 30 hours or something from more than that, I don't know, 24 to 30 hours, I think, from Delhi to Bombay. And that picture where Prabhupada, where he was standing on Juhu Beach with Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, that he's still around actually, and Giriraj and Dr. Patel, that's from 74 because Mohanananda is in that picture. And Mohanananda left Juhu before 75. So whoever made that should take note. Whoever made the video, is there any way we can get that video? Very nice video. We would like to spread that. and give a link on the website, akinchana.net. I don't know how many of you go to that website, but I'm one of the advisors of that site. You know, Maharaj and I didn't have as close an association as I would have liked. I had invited him to come to Gujarat several times, but he never made it. But we were very close in fighting something that's going on in ISKCON right now. He didn't want to come out in the public, and that is this nonsense female Diksha Guru concept. I'm very sorry, I have to speak very frankly. On philosophical grounds, but behind the scenes, Maharaj was in touch with me because he knew I was an outspoken opponent of this madness. I'm getting day by day, I'm not a fanatic. You know, I've never been a fanatic. All these years I've been in ISKCON, it'll be 48 years in February. I know Narayan is like 5-6 years senior to me, so he's been like 52, 53 years in ISKCON. But his younger brother from the previous ashram was in touch with me on a regular basis. And in Mayapur, we met in February and we talked. So I want everybody here to know, even though he didn't want everybody to know, because for reasons best known to him, that he was opposed to this. His life was glorious. He was a devotee to the last minute. You know, what can I say? He'll be missed. I will miss him. Gujarat never got his association, so it's a pain that will never go away. But whatever, you know, it's a big world out there, and Gujarat isn't the only place in the world, even if Lord Krishna did run away and lived in Gujarat for most of his manifest pastimes 5,000 years ago. Oh boy, it's true. Well, if you believe the Bhagavatam, Dwarka Dham ki jai. And I object to ISKCON Dwarka in New Delhi without them referring to Dwarka Colony, New Delhi, because it is not Dwarka Dham. I'm saying it half jokingly and half seriously. They should always mention ISKCON Dwarka Colony, New Delhi, not Dwarka, not ISKCON Dwarka. Anyway, I won't take too much of the time. I will not, please, I request the organizers to send me the link to the video if it's on YouTube. Whatever I saw for a few minutes was excellent. Thank you very much. I tried to publicize this program. These days I'm living on the internet, and I sent this program information all over the place on WhatsApp. But I don't know how many, is it being broadcast on YouTube? Maybe there's more people watching over that.
We saw your Facebook profile, Prabhuji, and we are very, very grateful. We are following you on Facebook, and all of your posts that you have been posting, not only of Maharaj, but of all other proper disciples who unfortunately are leaving this planet. And we are very grateful for information.
This month, ISKCON Ahmedabad, not only Jasomati Nandan Prabhu about a month ago, but 2 other devotees just passed away in the last 2 weeks, one yesterday. So yeah, it's very sad time. Narayan Prabhu, where are you? No, where are you now? It's looking dark. You're in a car in a dark place. Are you on the West Coast?
Yeah, Prabhuji is in Los Angeles.
Oh,
and
okay.
For me, of course, this is 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been up all night with this program, so I've got my warm coat on.
Okay. Okay. I'm on the East Coast, just for your information.
Oh,
Baltimore.
USA?
Yeah, I'm in Baltimore. My son is a civil engineer here, but I call him an urban Indian youth. He's a devotee, but
I relish so much. I remember when you were on our ISKCON site, and I relish that you have come to such a pukka conclusion, and I honor you for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
his
thank
best
the, I thank the organizers. I may take leave now.
Yes,
And,
yes, Prabhuji.
you know, I will have any other programs regarding Maharaj, any more Shraddhanjalis, let me know. I'll spread the word.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Lokanath Swami Maharaj, Dinabandhu Prabhu, they all joined. Mahakarta Prabhu, they all joined and glorified Maharaj. And on 6th of December, we have a local memorial festival, December, in Punjabi Bagh for the Delhi and Punjabi Bagh devotees and the Delhi NCR devotees. And that time
Make
we'll
sure
have a...
Dinabandhu Prabhu, catch him. Make sure he is the chief guest.
Okay, Prabhuji, sure.
I
we'll
mean,
do that.
Gopal Krishna Maharaj will attend because he's in Delhi.
Yeah, of course, because of COVID, most of the things are done online, and Maharaj is minimizing his meetings. But that's what the
he needs to
program is.
protect himself. It's terrible. What's happening is terrible.
Yes,
the material world. Padam padam yadavi padam natesham. Danger at every step.
So thank you very
Bhakti
much, Prabhuji.
Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj ki
Jai.
jai.
And I think, Prabhuji, there could not be better concluding than your presence. So we are very grateful that you came at the conclusion. Thank you for
Somehow
your
it slipped.
association.
Somehow it slipped my mind. And then it came. I saw, and I feel bad that I didn't come earlier, but better late than never.
And all the offerings, Prabhuji, audio, videos, text, etc., we are putting on our website, and we'll send you the link, and we request you spread it all over the world. So by 6th of December, we'll get most of the offerings. Devotees are writing and uploading with videos, audios, text, poems, and photographs, and etc., etc. So it's in the process.
Haribol.
Thank you,
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
So with that note, we would like to thank and honor everyone who attended this program. You can also, this video is available on YouTube, our ISKCON Punjabi Bagh YouTube channel, and you can also share it with your friends. If those of you anyone would like to share offering in terms of article, audio, or video, you can simply go on, or any photos that you have, you can simply go on our website, www.iskonpunjabibagh.com, and there's a banner over there. You just click that banner. There's an email ID. You can simply mail that your offerings to them, or it's iskonpb@gmail.com. So now we would like to conclude this program. Thank you so very much. His Holiness Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Upasthit Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.